Welcome to Squad Pod Sports, where we bring you our thoughts on the latest games and news around the sports world. Brought to you by the Journey with the Jays network that we are proudly part of now. And a special guest this week, speaking of Journey with the Jays, is host of the Pundits Pundit, Jacob Christner.
Hey,
thanks for joining us tonight, man.
Thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Oh, no, I'm happy to be with you guys, and I'm part of the network also. So we're all becoming a good team at this point.
Exactly. Right. It's good to have you on, kind of build a relationship within the network, We're glad to have you on. So before we kind of get started here, why don't you tell us a little about yourself? Like, how did you get started?
Well, I'll bring this part up. I'll say this. It's like the Pundits Pundit, and I was bringing this up earlier, but you said you've seen Casino, right, Wyatt?
Yeah.
The movie. The idea of the Pundits Pundit is sort of the idea at the beginning of that movie, where Joe Pesci talks about how the guy gets bets and how he's so good at it. And it's the idea that he knows who's snorting cocaine off the hooker and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
That sort of deal. Well, that's where the Pundits Pundit is. It's like, I don't just go as simple fan. I've been a sports fan all my life, but I don't go as simple fan. I always want to dig a little deeper. It's like, and I'm not always correct, but I got the ego to think I am.
Yeah. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
But
ESPN's made a living off of people like that. Yeah.
Well, the difference with me and ESPN is I don't change my mind. I will admit if I'm wrong, and I'm going to stick to where I am.
I agree.
And it's like the same with Colin Cowherd. It's like, and I respect the guy, but he changes his mind every 14 seconds.
Right.
Yeah.
But the biggest part of it is I always try to dig a little deeper, a little everything. So it's like I go by the matchup, by everything. So it's like I do think that, like, for instance, my Bears will beat Detroit. But at the same time, I thought Colts would beat Chicago. There's without Mitchell at the time, Mitchell Trubisky, because there's just little things that I'll give you an example of how my mind works. I used to say when Foles got in, I said to him, he's a nice passer, long arm, everything like that, but he's a statue.
Yeah, he's
a statue in the pocket. And considering the left edge is completely screwed, he's going to get carried off in a few weeks if you don't show up the line. He got carried off in a few weeks. And he showed up the line.
Sure enough.
I don't try to hate people. I don't hate. It's like that's what. It's like Cam Newton. I didn't want him in Chicago because not the system. I think he should be a Ram though.
You're just being realistic.
I'm realistic on the things. It's like I do believe that the Bears, if they have it, I still believe with this crappy schedule, they can still get a last seed. They might possibly get an NFC East champion. So, but I think of it that way. But at the same time, even if they beat that team, I don't think they beat the Saints or the Cardinals. I always try to dig a little bit each time because it's kind of the private investigator. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. I feel you.
So
that's cool, man.
That's what the Pundits Pundit is.
That's awesome, man. I mean, I've definitely watched some of your videos. It's good stuff. And I mean, you're great on Twitter as well. So I mean, everybody go follow his Twitter as well. It's at Pundits Pundit 1, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
So go check him out.
If you can take my completely honest assessments of everything.
It's brutally honest. It is brutally honest. So I mean, we're gonna get into like the Week 12 games and our predictions for Week 13. And then whatever kind of other news that we want to talk about. I mean, we're going to talk about the possible playoff picture for the NFL as well.
Sure.
So we'll kind of just hop in right into it with the Week 12 games. We were supposed to have 3 games on Thanksgiving. That didn't turn out as planned.
Yeah.
So we got two mediocre ones instead.
Oh yeah. No, but I just love Dallas.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Why didn't they just give us Dallas and Detroit and get it over with?
I know, right? Like, why do you got to make it 2 separate games every year?
Well,
it's ridiculous.
Here's my question. Washington and Houston might have actually been interesting.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, I'm cool with 2 games, but why do they have to play in 2? Exactly.
That would have worked a lot better.
I would have been so much better with that.
That is a good point.
This first one here, we both picked Houston. So, I mean, we got the W there.
I got Houston. You talk about Houston? Oh, yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Houston and Detroit, like that. Yeah. That one's kind of an easy
Detroit,
pick.
We've been predicting it for weeks and weeks. It finally happened.
Everybody in the world has been waiting for
it. Matt Patricia and the GM are out.
I had him out, and everybody knows it.
Yeah.
See, you got to realize the difference between he and Gase. The reason people wonder why Gase is still there, realize Adam Gase had 7 wins. He's not a good coach. He was. You got to realize the difference between the guru and dead is within a couple of years. But Adam Gase got Jay Cutler to actually pay attention. That's why he got his big. I mean, I can't stand Jay Cutler for various reasons, but he got Jay Cutler to pay attention and play good, so he became the guru immediately. And Matt Nagy's starting to get into guru to crap in a hurry himself. But Adam Gase, the reason he's still there because he's not going to be after this year, but the reason they keep giving him a chance, he was 7 wins. Mm-hmm. And it's like I really don't think Matt Patricia had 7 wins at any time whatsoever. There's differences here. Yeah. It's like people have to think like that. Why does Gase still have a job? That.
Yeah, I mean,
I still think he gets up, like, if not by the end of this year, if they end up maybe like 1-5 or some shit by next year, that he's gone. Adam Gase.
Oh, he'll be gone by this year. I just that's why they don't let him go early.
Right. I got you.
It's like there's a difference between. So you got to remember, 7-9 beat Todd Bowles' 5-11, and Todd Bowles was a horrible coach, and he's a horrible defensive coordinator.
I see Patricia getting a coordinator job somewhere. You know, I don't.
Well, you got to realize this. I mean, this is true. This is the true thing. It's like this era now is so quick. It's so quick on the draw to kill somebody's career. It's like for instance, right now at this point, it's like a Frank Reich. Even if he was to fail in Indianapolis, he's got a coordinator's thing. Vic Fangio. It's like, okay, quote unquote, failed in Denver. He had too many things against him. He's going to get a defensive coordinator job. But it's a reputation deal.
Yeah.
Fails, he come back to Philly, Frank Reich, please.
And I'm going to go back where you guys don't remember, but Wayne Fontes in Detroit. Okay, he was way back in Detroit in the 90s. You guys aren't going to really remember this, but I'm going to give you some history. Wayne Fontes. You want to know what his jobs were before? Defensive coordinator in Tampa Bay. Got Detroit, and then he went to Detroit. Got Detroit, and then he never coached again. They've had like 3 coaches that never coached again after, and it's like a place to die. And it's like, and I think, and I really believe Matt Patricia is going to get into the college level, or he's going to be like something like a strength and conditioning coach. I said he needs strength and conditioning.
Yeah. For real.
Quality control. I mean, he'll get something, but their reputations are pretty shot right now.
Yeah. Right. I mean, speaking of the Lions, though, like Jim Schwartz, he was the coach when they went like 0-16, and then gets fired and everything, and then comes in defensive coordinator for us for the past like 5 years.
Wasn't that Marinelli? Wasn't that Marinelli?
Was it? It was. I thought it was Jim Schwartz.
Rod Marinelli. He was the.
Well, Jim Schwartz didn't do any better either.
No. But Rod Marinelli became the Bears defensive coordinator, a pretty darn good one.
Okay.
But see, the thing is, when you've got a it's like it doesn't even matter record, doesn't matter anything. It's a reputation deal.
Yeah, that's true.
Because the head coach is luck. A lot of it is luck.
Yeah.
A ton of it is luck. As a coordinator, you're running one system, but you've got to have both systems, and then you've got to have the egos. You control everything. So being a coach is so different.
Yeah, and I mean, as far as the Lions, like getting rid of the whole GM and head coach, with them bringing in new ones, that begs the question: like, you're gonna have a complete rebuild. You're gonna get rid of Stafford. Is Stafford gonna be out? You're gonna try to draft or maybe get a young QB to come in, raise up with the new coach and GM, kind of build a new system, or what are they gonna do from here?
What do you think first? What do you think, Vern?
I think, honestly, they're going to be in like another limbo period where they'll end up, 5 wins, 7 wins, like something like that for the next couple of years, because they're not going to get rid of Stafford. Like they're going to hang on to him, and it's just going to be one of those like weird limbo situations, middle of the pack. They're not going to end up getting the pick good enough to score a Lawrence or something like that. I just, because they'll end up winning close games and losing close, like they're that type of team. Like seeing some of the comebacks that they had this year even have been impressive, and then they falter the way they do, and I'm like, who are you really? And then you see Patricia get fired, obviously the GM getting fired. It's kind of in turmoil there. I don't see them getting rid of Stafford because he's at the tail end of his prime, so they're gonna try to like kind of get that, try to.
I understand.
That. Yeah, for one thing, Stafford's on his way out, I think, because you got to remember he's had a bad back. His shoulders are screwed. He's got I think
But how many years does he have left on his contract?
Maybe
You know,
one
at this
or two.
point,
I truly believe this, and he hasn't said anything yet. But you got to remember, his wife had they just dealt with COVID. His wife also had a brain tumor. He's had a bad back. He's had. I mean, it's like, and plus the fact they don't ever have a run game. He's always beaten up.
Yeah.
Right.
See, the thing is, in a rebuild, everybody keeps wanting rebuilds. Why I can't stand the emotional nitwits hashtag. But no, that's why I can't stand the emotional nitwits mindset. We keep rebuilding as if it's as easy as Madden or
it's
Madden or fantasy
process.
I mean, it's like at some point, and I can bring this. I grew up with the early Bears. And I can say this: the reason they were so awesome, they had 7 for 7 in 1983. Look it up. 7 for 7 as far as their players, like 4 Hall of Famers. As far as, and then the 3 Hall of Famers, excuse me, something along those lines. They just, how many GMs are going to go 7 for 7 now? But they went that, and it became, and guess what? From 84 to 88, like 65 wins, 62 wins, some ridiculous number.
Jeez.
You know, it's like let's see, I'm trying to think. 15, no, they won 10. 15 is 25. 14 is 39. 11 is 50. And then 12, 62. And then 66 wins until they, at the start of 89 after that. So 66 wins. And how many GMs are going to get that successful 7 for 7 to be able to get, and then people staying that long? And so it's like what fans don't understand is what gets them a consistent team all the time is the players that got to stick, good, bad, or the other. Good, bad, or otherwise.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. If they want something, it's like you can't keep just doing fantasy. Split this guy up for this guy. Are they the right system? They don't understand systems at all.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to say Detroit. Hard for me to say what's happening in Detroit. It's like,
who knows?
Because another rebuild. This one will work.
That's what I'm saying. They're going to be stuck in that period of just they're not going to be good. They're not going to be bad enough to get good picks to even try to rebuild. You know,
they haven't had a playoff win. They haven't had playoff wins since '91. They haven't had championships since '57. Yeah. I'm like,
God.
I'm like, God. Okay, we got to keep rebuilding.
It's been 67
You're saying
years.
We haven't been rebuilding? Is this what you're trying to say?
I mean, I'm trying to think if I put myself in their shoes and if I would have to rebuild and everything, I almost would want to be able to keep everybody and do the Mike Ditka thing he said in '82. And it's like, guess what? We're going to win one in 5 years, folks. But some of you ain't going to be here.
Yeah.
I'd almost want to try them out on the field instead of rebuilding all the time and just keep piecing it together.
Yeah.
And
that's probably the best way to do it, though.
It's like, that's all I can say with Detroit right now. It's like, it's easy to say with Philadelphia. They got their title. At least the Bears got to the Super Bowl in 06, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, 06, 07, it's like, it's easy on that kind of deal. And you win it's one thing when you can win division titles here and there. The Bears got theirs in 18. Then it's easy when you can say, what do you do to rebuild with teams that have won recently? But when you don't, I mean, you just keep doing the same thing. It's not working.
Yeah, totally agree, man. On that note, we'll kind of move on here to the Washington and the Cowboys game, which got out of hand really quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Alex Smith.
Let's call
doing
them
his thing.
Let's call them
the Washington Dubs.
The Dubs. I mean,
that's better. We've just been calling them the no names.
Oh, yeah,
I enjoy calling them the no names.
WFT,
Washington no names.
It sounds like a bad government system or something.
I picked Dallas in this one because I have a problem with Washington. Every time I ended up picking Washington, they lost, and I was over it. So
WFT,
I picked Dallas.
WFT, Washington for Trump.
Oh my God. You know, DC.
But yeah, I mean, I thought that Washington kind of had some momentum and looked better going into this game than Dallas. I mean, Dallas is just, I mean, they had that one good game, some out of nowhere, and then they just went back to being themselves again.
McCarthy's garbage.
Oh yeah, that's not working out at all.
But he's a 2007 coach in 2020, and I'm going to bring that up about Lovie Smith. But I'm going to bring that up about Lovie Smith when we get through this deal here. It's like, because I'm actually asking if Mitchell Trubisky stays to get Lovie Smith, so someone will leave the kid alone, and Lovie would do that. But see, here's the thing with McCarthy. When you hear things like, "Oh, he's a tough guy, hustle, blah, 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 grind," it's like you think he's trying to be Vince Lombardi, 1966.
Yeah.
It's not that game anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, watch Arizona Seattle games. Watch those. You would think it's Arena League.
That's what I'm saying. Like I was thinking the same. Like as you were saying that, I'm thinking about Cliff Kingsbury. You know, I'm thinking about like McVay, stuff like that. Like they're just different. The way they approach the players, the way they approach everything is different.
Like
you know,
there isn't a football player, including Rodrigo Blankenship, that isn't a tough guy. And let me say that Rodrigo Blankenship loves his Legos. He's a dork. But let me tell you, I mean,
I love that video.
but if you're on a football deal, if you're on a football squad, you're tough. Right. I mean, it's like if you get Super 70 Sports, the old guy's a dork, but I mean, he's got funny stuff. Have you ever seen his Twitter, Super 70 Sports?
I don't think so. No.
Look him up. Look him up. He's kind of an old dork that wants to go back to the past, but he's funny.
I'll definitely check it out.
He's funny. Super 70 Sports. He's funny. He always talks about the past and gets everything, but it's like, I would rather have these 480-foot home run, 480-foot center fields in these and all the bad carpet and the concrete, and it's like, you got to advance in life.
Yeah.
And it's like, so when you see, I was bringing him up as an example. So when you see Mike McCarthy,
well, I mean, you knew things were kind of going to be in trouble whenever they said that like he lied during his interview. They were saying that he like went over and watched all this footage of like Dallas like over the years and went through all the tape. And then they asked him after he got the job. He's like, "No, I watched some of it, but like, he's like, I didn't nearly go through as much as I said." Like, he pretty much lied to Jerry Jones, saying like, "Yeah, I went through like all your footage. I know what I can do with this squad and all this." Pretty much lied at the job interview. But like,
so let me tell you this about Jerry Jones. No. It's just a simple fact about him. When he took over, he's an oil wildcatter.
Yeah,
he's an old oil wildcatter, and he owned restaurants. He did everything. In his younger years, he was the guy that got rid of Tom Landry when nobody else would.
Right.
He got rid of Landry, and he went on the golf course. And personally, to me, I wish he would have given Landry a goodbye. You know, just 1 year, and he can go to every stadium. They give him this blah, blah, blah. I wish they would have done that. But, you know, again, the emotional nitwit fans, they had to get on the radio and go, "We need to get rid of Landry." They get rid of Landry. No, you shouldn't. You know? But Jerry Jones was that guy, and he gets the crazy Jimmy Johnson. Gets the crazy Jimmy Johnson who takes all these risks and chances.
Yeah.
Does that. And then he gets Barry Switzer, who's insane. And then all of a sudden, Chan Gailey and Wade Phillips, who's not bum. He gets when he got older, he got safe.
Yeah. I mean, the dude knows how to draft. If that's him, like, drafting, like, Dallas, they know how to draft. It's just, for some reason, they just can't
and Tennessee
fit
knows
the
how to
pieces
recruit.
together.
And Tennessee knows how to recruit. They can't win. Big deal.
Exactly. They just don't know how to mesh it all together. Yeah.
But no, it's like he got old. What happened with Jerry Jones? See, old is not age. Old is mind. He got old in mind. He got safe. Because of his billions, he got safe. And it's like his real thing should have been Kellen Moore, who's about 30 years old. And considering that you have Cliff Kingsbury, he's about 33. You got Sean McVay. Putting Kellen Moore in there right off the bat would have been the perfect deal, but he gets this old thing and he gets Mike Nolan.
Yeah.
And Mike Nolan, another 07 coach in 20. He needs a suit.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree. I mean, Washington, they're also like in disarray. I mean, it seems like, I don't know, they don't nearly have the pieces that the Cowboys have, but it seems like Ron Rivera's kind of coaching them a lot better. And
it's year one for him. I mean, it's year one for McCarthy too, but like,
I mean, by all means, both teams are pretty terrible. Look at their record, but
I don't want Alex Smith there. I don't know if you saw that video.
I did, yeah. We watched that video.
People are making I've actually gotten a few comments on that. People are making the mistake of thinking that I don't want him because he don't play well. No, he's playing great. Alex Smith plays Alex Smith.
He just shouldn't be for the Redskins.
Alex Smith
not the Redskins.
Alex Smith
no names.
Alex Smith is a more athletic Kyle Orton. I mean, that's what he is. He's a more athletic Kyle Orton. It's like he gets the job done, doesn't make a lot of mistakes. Alex Smith is Alex Smith.
Send him to Denver.
Huh?
Send him to Denver.
Send him to Denver.
Yeah, you get him killed.
That fits perfectly with
Get
the
him
way
killed.
John Elway, like,
You're
you know,
right,
he
though.
would think about it though.
But he's right though. Like he would get killed up there.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I don't want Alex Smith, not because he's got like 4 kids and he's got a wife. He's got all the money in the world. He's got all the money in the world, and it's like, be a coach. He's a smart player. Go be a coach. You've got all the money. Go invest it well. Be a real estate person. Whatever. I mean,
take the safe route and
back.
Take the safe route and go back and be like the backup for the Chiefs now, or something. Go back to Andy Reid and be the backup for the Chiefs.
I don't want him to play at all. I don't want him to play at all. I don't mean it by his play. His play is going to be Alex Smith, but I want him to go. I don't want that horrible offensive line to get him smushed again and be done for. That he can't play with his kids at all.
Yeah, it's gonna ruin.
And I'm somebody who loves somebody that takes chances. Like I brought this up. I love somebody that takes chances, but there's some point where you got to think that you're a dad of 4, and they're gonna want to play with you. They're young, and they're gonna want to play with you. You showed them that you can. He gave them a great deal. He gave them a great motivation. Like the kids got to see that as an example. Your dad almost lost his leg in his life, and he's back there. That's wonderful. But now that he's done that, I mean, let them play with their dad now.
That reminds me of like whenever, like what you're saying, nitwit fans giving
emotional
nitwit fans giving Derrick Rose shit years ago on the Bulls. He sat out like a quarter or a half of a season because he's like, I forget what he said. Like, I'm paraphrasing, but he said, he's like, I want to be able to walk my kids to their graduation or something like that. He's like, I got to do what's best. Yeah, he's like, I got to do what's best for me, so I'm sitting out. And like everyone's like, you're healthy, you can play and all this. He's like, I'm doing what's best for me at this point. Sorry.
The thing is, a lot of emotional nitwits will bring that up. A lot of them have this fault that they believe that because you make multi-millions of dollars that you bought your way out of feelings.
Yeah.
So you get this issue where it's like, oh my God, it's like, Larry Bird would have done it. It's like, Larry Bird was my hero. You understand? Andre Dawson was my hero growing up. Andre Dawson had no knees left by the time he got to the Cubs. And it's like, he just hustled anyway. See, but something, Larry Bird would love to have LeBron James's diet and training.
Yeah, it's a lot different now than it was then.
Spend $1 million a year on his body.
Yeah, but Bird would love that because, the biggest thing is without Larry Bird, there's no LeBron James.
Yeah.
Because it isn't the same. LeBron James was always a lot more athletic, so that's not what I'm saying. But
he's still a stepping stone in the league,
See, I always tell this to people. I don't care who the greatest of all time is. Every one of my heroes were transcenders. Hulk Hogan was one of my heroes when I was a kid. He transcended wrestling.
Someone that could stand the test of time.
Stand the test of time. Yeah, Larry Bird stands the test of time.
MJ.
Walter Payton stands the test of time. I don't care who the greatest quote unquote of all time. Every one of my heroes transcended.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And it's like, but those are the things that people say. It's like, okay, if you don't mind me getting off the beaten path, I want to bring this up. We're up Larry Bird. People say who's the greatest, Larry Bird or LeBron James, Michael Jordan, or whatever.
Yeah.
Here's what I say. For us to know that, get the time machine from Bill and Ted. Go get the time machine from Bill and Ted. You either bring LeBron back or Bird forward. You got to give LeBron without the athlete. You got to give him without the training, without the training things, without the diet. He has to eat cheeseburgers and drink beer. That's exactly how they did. It's like that's all there was going to be. Would he still have his basketball brain? Yes, he would, but he'd feel pain more. Then you have
way more physical.
Not a physical specimen.
Yeah. Okay. Larry Bird. You have to give him everything now. And plus the fact they spread out the court and no one plays defense.
Yeah.
And then you have to think that Larry Bird's going to actually have muscles. He's going to have a muscle tone. He's not going to look like a trucker or a trucker meets
like a lanky dude.
He ain't going to look like a trucker meets an insurance agent and be a redneck. He's going to look. See, people don't realize when they're doing this, they're thinking, oh, it's going to be that Larry Bird because that LeBron James. No, because if you did that, it wouldn't be fair. You got to give the fairness level. It's like, of course LeBron's going to beat Larry because he's got the advantage of the athleticism. So, but Larry would have that if he came here. So now what?
Yeah.
It's always like bigger, faster, stronger. Every draft class. So like inevitably the future players are going to be more athletic and better in certain ways than an older generation player. But that's just because of like the progression and the path that older generation laid out in the first place. You know what I mean?
Well, the reason Larry brought LeBron is because Larry was the first 6'10" guy that wasn't just 14, 16 feet from the back.
Exactly.
He was also playing half power forward. He was also out in the perimeter. He was also guard. He also sometimes stole the ball from the guards. He was under the center. He played all 5 positions. That's what LeBron does. I mean, Bird. The thing was, Bird also dribbled with his left hand when he wanted to go up the court, which was what LeBron did not do. But that's what I'm saying is everything that you see LeBron. Larry was just basically a beta test for what you see LeBron now. It's the finished product.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah. So. That's what you have to do when you have to think of those levels, think of that area.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we'll get back into it here. The next game we had here, I think you said you predicted correctly the Falcons and the Raiders. Didn't you have the Falcons?
Oh yeah.
You're like the only person that picked the Falcons, I think, in this game, because I think me and Vern both picked the Raiders.
Both picked the Raiders in this one.
Yeah, I mean, we had a conversation with your boy Q last week, so go watch that podcast. But I mean, he had me hyped up about the Raiders. I was like, you know what? They look all right.
No. I already knew that.
In this game, it's like, wait a minute, these might be the same old Raiders.
That wasn't even an upset to me. No. The reason being is because number one, I think the Raiders are a coach away. I think Gruden's another 2002 coach in 2020. It's like I think he's got more of an understanding than most of the older coaches of how things are going, and they still run a modern offense. But it's like right off the bat, he made some of the 2002 move and getting rid of Khalil Mack.
Yeah,
right. We were talking about that last week.
And Amari Cooper got within a week. I think.
Put Khalil Mack with that offense now, and see they are probably having a legendary rivalry with the Chiefs.
Right.
But instead, they're probably an average of an 8-8, 7-9, 9-7 team, and that is all on Gruden.
Mm-hmm.
And see, the thing is, number one, the Raiders have lulls in their offense. They're not like the Chiefs where they have every quarter doing something. They'll have a lull a game or 2 quarters. The Chiefs don't get lulls.
Yeah,
that's the big difference on that. Number two, they have a terrible defense.
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta plays well at home.
Yeah.
So. See,
my boy was at that game.
And this is the one thing a lot of people in Las Vegas, or a lot of people that bet, and a lot of people that make picks make the mistake on. They go off of fake momentum. They don't think of what a matchup could be. And it's not easy to get. You have to look at matchups, what could be, and stuff like where it is. It's like, is the Raider? Why? I'll tell you what made me think about the Falcons winning that game. Remember that horrible touchdown at the very end where someone was completely wide open and he could have set up an 11-8 stand in the end zone?
Yeah.
Remember that whole thing? That's exactly why. I mean, if you leave somebody that wide open, you're not there. Your assignments are out. The Raiders are not ready. They're a young coach away.
It happened with the Chiefs a week before with Kelsey, last touchdown of the game. Wide open. They lost the game because of that. Exactly what, you know what I mean? So you're right.
He was right there in the end zone, yeah.
Well, they were like, how is he? There was like 20 yards on each side of him. It's ridiculous.
Here's the thing about the Chiefs. I'll give you a little trivia thing. When Reed first came into the league, he was playing the Bears one Sunday, like in not the league, but the Chiefs. When he first came to the Chiefs, it was all of a sudden they got a touchdown. It was their second touchdown to a wide receiver since 2013.
We talked about that.
And it's like, and at the time, and so literally he had to build off of a horrible pass game. And that was, you had Alex Smith, you had all that, but I'm talking about just the system was horrible. He had to build off that, and they still got to win 11-5. But this is the thing, that's the difference between a Gruden and a Reed. And Reed's had gone 25 years with a system trying to build on it. He had his own mistakes.
Yeah.
And Gruden doesn't learn from his mistakes. He has too much arrogance.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, I mean, he's locked in for 8 more years.
No, he's not. No, he's not. They're gonna. I mean, they say that. They say that.
I don't know. Yeah,
no,
that was quite quite a contract to give to a coach.
Take a look at bullhead Mark Davis. Look at the bullhead. I mean, he got the bullhead. I mean, he's got Al Davis's blood.
You just say he's too cheap. He cuts his own hair.
Yeah. Oh my God, with what? But it's like, yeah. He gets the old bull from the 70s.
Yep. Just puts it right on.
But no, oh my God. But no, it's like, yeah, they can say they gave him a 10-year contract, but they're expecting 3 playoffs. And the thing is, they also wanted his personality in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And they moved to Las Vegas, and that's what they wanted. But they're not going. Maybe he'll get another year, but they're not going to put up with constant mediocrity, especially when there's young coaches out there, and they're not far away. The Raiders
especially the way that they're seeing like the game evolve, and the way that like these young coaches are coaching now, like what you were saying with like McVay and like Shanahan, how they're kind of have their new coaching style.
Well, you got to think of this. Let's forget the Packers-Bears game for a second. The Bears have one of the top 5 defenses in the league the last 3 years. The Bears
I'll agree. Yeah.
The Bears won that. They won that trade. And it's like people will say it based off of I call it another thing called the prisoner of the moment. They do it based off the fact that, the Raiders look pretty good. Then they've lost 2 in a row. And see, with the Bears, forget the Packers game. They have a top 5 defense all the time. They just have to get their offense going. But the Raiders have a horrible defense. If you kept Khalil Mack, you could have still built your offense anyway.
Yeah.
And the Raiders, I had that pick. That was an easy one to me. I think they beat the Jets, of course. Raiders beat the Jets, but who doesn't?
Yeah, that's true. The next game we had here was the Chargers and the Bills. I think we both picked the Bills on this, didn't we?
We both picked Buffalo in that one.
I picked Bills.
Herbert still balled out, but
he looks like a decent QB though.
Right. I'm excited to see. I think he could win Rookie of the Year for sure. There's a couple wide receivers that are pushing him for it, but with Burrow out, it's kind of Herbert. Tua hasn't played enough.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just saying Tua hasn't played enough. Like I like what Jefferson's doing, but as far as like CeeDee Lamb's not doing it, I think Herbert's getting that Rookie of the Year.
LA's in an interesting situation because I hope Anthony Lynn stays, but this will also be his second straight losing season, and it's like
right.
And it's like the biggest deal is like, and they're going to go through an interesting situation next. You want to know why? Because you just watched for a future lawsuit, Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah.
The reason Herbert's got that job in the first place because Tyrod Taylor got poked, if you will.
Got poked in the lung. Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be a lawsuit, especially because he basically just lost his career and his starting job because
they were even saying like right after they're like Tyrod's our guy going forward, like he's gonna come back and be the starter or whatever, and then here we are, Justin Herbert's balling still, and he's lost his job. So
I mean,
you're exactly right.
Tyrod wouldn't have won any more than Herbert. I mean, they don't have a defense, but
right.
But that's gonna be an interesting situation over there in the next year or so.
Oh, I definitely agree. The Bills are doing Bills things right now. They haven't really been amazing, but they haven't looked really terrible at all.
8-3.
Yeah, 8-3. Josh Allen got them wheels.
Got them wheels.
Got them wheels. We always talk about that.
Allen and Trubisky are 2 guys, the wheels, and I can say this part. Allen's gonna. I mean, there's one thing in common. Allen's a better quarterback, obviously, but here's the thing. There's going to be something in common. It's like it doesn't matter with Trubisky's shoulder because he's still got the wheels. That's going to keep him in the league for a while.
Yeah.
But the minute they either have a blown knee, they're in trouble because you got to realize Allen didn't have a 300-yard game until this year, and he's had a couple 400s, but he's still not consistent.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's going to hold him back, like at least
he's
this
also
year.
growing as a passer.
Yeah,
he's still learning.
Growing pains.
He's still young, but like as a Patriots fan, I'm like, shit, I gotta worry about Josh. Like you said, pending any type of knee injuries, Josh Allen's gonna be a problem in my division for years to come.
Well, I think to say this about Cam. To say this about Cam, and it's like bringing what you were saying with that. It's like people were asking me what I thought about Cam with the Bears. I'm like, and it's like And it's not. See, Cam in 2015, we'd all love it.
Right.
We'd all love it. We have to be realistic. It's almost like asking Michael Jordan to come back now. Go to YouTube. Oh my God, Michael Jordan could probably score 15.
You see it every year at his training camps. They're like, Michael Jordan dropped like 10 threes in a row or whatever. He could still dunk. And they're like, what does that matter? That doesn't matter anything right now.
Paul George once said on Larry Bird's 60th birthday, they saw him hit 15 straight three-pointers. And it's like, that's just because he's got muscle memory as an amazing shooter. But
yeah.
I don't want to see Larry Bird trying to run up the court anymore. It's like, he's 63 years old. But it's like people will say these things. It's like I watched a video of Jerry West hitting like 20 straight shots, and he hadn't shot a ball in like 2 years because he had shoulder surgery. He was like 75 years old. And it's like, and there's people like, he could take Steve Nash's job right now.
Oh boy.
I mean, it's like, see, but that's the thing though. It's athletes never quit being athletes.
There was a reason Cam wasn't touched for like 70 days in free agency. That's there was a reason he wasn't picked up right away.
And it's like, and it's like the biggest thing is he had reconstructive foot surgery, 2 shoulders. He's not, I mean, he shows flash. He's like he and Larry Bird have something in common on that. Is the fact that they are both in Boston, and you can say that they're both Boston, but older guys who basically had a bunch of injuries and are showing flashes, but also are more of a liability than they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I miss Larry.
On a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
I miss Larry
on a 1-year deal
when he left.
Yeah, and you didn't have to trade for it. You just picked him up. Like, what are you paying him? Like $1 million for the year, and that's it.
I would like to see what happens. Like, I don't know necessarily what I want. My biased opinion on it. I don't know what I want to happen next year because I just want to see how this year plays out. We're obviously not doing great. Not going to be making no crazy Trevor Lawrence or Jalen Hurts or not Jalen Hurts. Justin Fields, stuff like that. But like, I don't even know. I don't know what's next. Like, do we roll with Stidham? Like that? It's such a big question mark for me right now. Because even as far as like what I want, I just don't even know what, because it's such a huge question mark.
Because nobody knows what Bill wants. Only Bill knows what Bill wants.
Bill, I brought up Trubisky earlier, kind of a half joke, like for that deal. But the thing is, bring as an example, Trubisky, I'd say a younger quarterback to mold. That would. I
don't mind that idea. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's just a younger quarterback to mold. Let him make some. Because the thing is, he's not going to get 10 wins again. He's not going to get that as far as that goes. It's like until he gets something. He's not going to get it in this basic system he's got now. He's got to switch up a little bit.
Yeah,
he'll still coach and everything, but he needs a young quarterback he can mold into his thing that will not have the same ego that a Brady had or any of those like Cam Newton has. He's got to get that.
Yeah,
right.
Definitely. The next game we have here was the Giants and the Bengals without Joe Burrow. And, I mean, the Giants didn't have Danny Dimes for a minute, and it's looking like he's not going to be there for the next couple weeks. He's like a hamstring.
Danny Nichols.
Danny
Nichols.
It's like
that's the first time I've heard that one. That's great, man.
The only reason I call him Danny Nichols because he only gets it there half the time. But it's like,
that is the more accurate name.
That is great, man. Because we call him Danny Dimes all the time, but he's been playing like Danny Nichols. That's what he is lately, man.
No, but the Giants. See, the thing is about the Giants is now there's Giants fans that are acting like Cowboys fans. We're going to win.
Yeah, now they're all hyped.
Now. And then you got Colt McCoy.
Right.
It's like, he's going to get killed. And it's like...
It's going to be more of the same.
See, Danny, I like Danny Jones as far as his athleticism and when he plays like Nichols, but it's half the time. But you got to realize something. Outside of the division, he's won 2 games in his career outside of the division. Even he.
And I think it was game last week or a game before he had a string since like he started in the league of turnovers every game. I forget how many games it was straight. It was like 18 or 17 games straight he had a turnover.
Yeah. And Joe Judge, the wonderful, great special teams coach, being, I felt like a Jerry Jones hiring. I mean,
they're hyping him up like crazy over there in New York, saying he's such a player's coach. You saw that video of him diving on the fumble in the mud, and like,
and you know
they're
something
hyping
good.
him up.
I love hustlers. Good, I love hustlers. you know, and I just true. I love that. It's like I told you I grew up with Larry Bird. I was like
Jason Garrett, but he learned from Jason Garrett when he came there. He's hustling people.
No, I said hustle, not hustling. No,
I thought you said he was hustling the Giants.
He's
doing that too.
I like him when they hustle up the line on the base hit. I like that.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, dive in on that thing. I can't. I mean, one thing I was happy with Mitch the other night in that game. One thing I was happy is he dropped his own ball, and then he didn't do the Cam Newton in the Super Bowl. He actually went after it, and he has a horrible shoulder. So he could have had that shoulder dove on. So I'm glad that I like hustle like that.
Yeah. That's why every time I see Carson run, I'm like, watch the knees, watch them legs.
Well, and that's not even, he has to try to save his job. Carson's got to try to save his job. You do what you see. And that's the biggest problem with, we have an ADD society. Everything has got to get it fast right now.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. Like, I've talked about it before. Like, I mean, we'll get to it a little bit later, but like, dude, like, got 4,000 passing yards last year. Like, took like no receivers with more than 500 yards. Took them to the playoffs. Like, and then like at that point, it was only like 6 games into the season. He was looking terrible already, and people were already bench him, get rid of him, like all this. So like, he just look what he did for us last year. Like, and you're just gonna
you throw him away. You're talking about the Eagles, right?
Yeah.
Let me tell you this right now. Josh McCown ruined Carson Wentz in Philadelphia.
You think so? You think it was Josh McCown?
Because Josh McCown tore his hamstring off the bone and played. He ruined him forever. And now Carson's got to play with probably pains that he usually wouldn't play with. He's got to do things he doesn't have to do. And it's not a great team.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
And Josh McCown's 42 years old. And he's just he was a high school coach that got back in. And it's like, he's just one of those hustlers. That's just what that is.
I mean, it doesn't help that you also like had the one QB controversy with Nick Foles, and then you get rid of him, everything's cool, and then you draft Jalen Hurts and bring in another QB controversy, which like
I would have taken Josh McCown over Nick Foles for Mitchell Trubisky any day of the week, because you got an extra coach in there, just let the kid ride.
I'm actually hoping Josh McCown will come back as like a QB coach, or like maybe an
awesome.
or something like that. I know he wants
to. If nothing else, he could be a double for Tim Taylor, Tim the Toolman Taylor's son.
Yeah, that hair and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Bengals. The Bengals are just they're without Burrow. I'm surprised they put up 17 points without Burrow, but
they didn't have Ryan Finley. That was the help.
The next game was the Titans and the Colts. The Titans put it on them, man.
I had the Titans for that game. I had the Titans.
Who did we have, Vern? I think I picked the Titans.
We both picked Indy on that one.
What?
Because
I picked the Titans.
We were talking about how the Titans were faltering, and Phillip Rivers tricked us.
This is what we talk about as well. The Colts just trick us every other week. As soon as we think like, oh, it's the Colts, nope, back to be like terrible. Phillip Rivers.
They're not terrible. They're not terrible. The Colts are good. They'll be out in the first round. They'll be out in the first game of the playoffs. They're a good team. But
they're an all. Yeah, I mean, it's just they're so like iffy each week. You don't know what team you're gonna get.
Well, see, like I said, a lot of people in the pick game, they do this fake momentum.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of trick. I mean, I do it. I trick myself into it every week.
It's like you get yourself into this deal, and it's like you can't say like I'll give you a little secret on going off this game for a second. I never pick the Bears and the Packers games ever, and I know that the Packers have dominated.
Yeah, I mean, it's just mostly each week we give our pick for every game. It's not.
I never do Bears and Packers. I've just given that thing. I never do, and it's like I already know that Bears dominate, but I've also grew up watching the Bears dominate, which is funny. I'm one of the last of the breed, but the thing is, I've also seen like the Bears dominated, but they never beat them by much.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've seen like a horrible Bears team on the week of Walter Payton's death take one in Lambeau, like on a block kick. It's like everyone, and it's like it's weird. You don't know when it's going to happen, so it's hard for me. It's like if I was a betting person on those things, I'd be like, I'm staying away from that game. So I don't. That's why I don't ever pick a Bears and Packers, because you can say the pick was there. It's easy to say Packers, but weird things happen with that series, even with the Packers dominating. And I could see the Bears starting to dominate again with Jordan Love.
That makes sense.
As quarterback. That's I could see that, but it's like either way, It's like, and there's gonna be Packers fans. Oh, it'll never happen. Yes, it can happen. I grew up with the Bears dominating, and that's older, but it can happen, and you're not going to see it coming. It's like I grew up seeing the New England Patriots be 1-15, and now they're 20 years. You get that? It's like time flies, everything goes by. You have to look at those things.
Yeah.
Right.
And as far as Indy, Frank Reich, he's a good coach.
He is.
Unless he gets himself his second person, which he really doesn't have right now.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he can bring Peterson and be his guy. Who knows? But I
How
don't think they win without each other.
That would be crazy.
That would be crazy. Philly fires Doug Peterson. He goes to Indy.
I don't think they win without each other. I just don't.
That would be wild. We were predicting Carson going to Indy with Frank Reich. What if Doug goes to Indy? Yeah, I mean, the Titans, like, they had a really good game. Derrick Henry did his thing once again.
Man.
Derrick Henry is Earl Campbell of the future with the gym pass. It's just true. I mean, it's same size. They both run over people, and it's just.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's another team that's like, I don't know what they're going to be looking like here in the next couple weeks. Who knows? I mean, they kind of, since they came back from the whole COVID thing, kind of been on like a little better.
That defense
but I mean,
is getting better. It's just it's interesting. Like when you have Derrick Henry, it's almost like I remember last year at one point. I don't know what he's averaging this year per carry, but last year he was averaging like 7 yards, something like that per carry, and it was just like ridiculous. When you're averaging that much, it's almost hard to beat you. It's hard to lose a game because you're just first down.
Plus, like, you don't want to get in front of a dude like that when he's like, you're not going to stop him.
They're throwing these screens to him too, and he's just, once he gets ahead of steam, it's just like no one's stopping that. And if you do,
you guys all
do
play
it again.
Fantasy football?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you this: one of my rules of fantasy football is to pick the quarterback and never running backs. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding you. My picks. See, I never go. I never have a losing season in fantasy football, and it's like whether I'm struggling or not. And it's because I have these rules. Number 1, star quarterback. Number 2, star kicker. Or to pick the kicker and everything. And number 3, your tight end and I mean, 1 star wide receiver and then a tight end and flex. Everybody else can multiply. Everybody keeps trying to go star fucker. They're star fucking every week and seeing the name. You know that they're going to pick an Adrian Peterson, who's 38 years old. It's like, see, when you go for the running back, you get injuries.
That's
like
true.
Saquon.
You get injuries, and it's like when you go for that. When you get that, you got to realize when you go for the quarterbacks, just go for another star quarterback for backup. And then that backup can just be someone from the waivers. Everybody is trying to get 170 points every week. I'm just trying to beat you by 1 point. And then let me give you this little piece of little secret. Wait till the last month when everybody gives up or they're getting desperate. Then they put everybody in waivers or they go for a trade. Then you get loaded.
Yeah.
Then you get loaded and then you're unbeatable for the playoffs. And it's like, see, those are things. You got everything in life you do, you got to play the long game. And so the thing is, going back to Derrick Henry, he's not going to be Frank Gore. He runs too hard. He's going to get his knee injuries.
Right. He's not playing all these years.
Not at that level and not the way doing that kind of stuff. He's going to have horrible knees later. But it's like, at the same time, take advantage of what you can right now, because they're going to be using them differently in the next couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. The next game here was one of the more entertaining, surprisingly. It was the Panthers and the Vikings game. Mm-hmm. It was pretty decent. Yeah. It was kind of back and forth the whole time. Dalvin Cook is injured. I don't really know the severity of it as of right now. I haven't really seen anything.
Goes back to my point.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. I mean, I haven't really seen anything on it, surprisingly, about the extent of his injury. I don't know if it's that serious.
He's probably hiding out and Chuck Cunningham. No, that's an old school.
But we've talked about like the Panthers. Like, they've been surprisingly, with a new coach and everything, they've been decent even without McCaff. I mean, the record doesn't show it, but I mean, they look like a team that could actually get some wins if they put a couple more pieces in.
Matt
in the
Rule's a good
offseason.
coach. Matt Rule's a good
Yeah,
coach.
it shows.
But I had another deal having to argue with the emotional nitwits wanting Teddy Bridgewater, and I said he's overrated. They looked at the 5-0 in Saints, and it's like it's a system.
Definitely.
It's a system, and it's like he's overrated. He played one game in the playoffs the same year as Trubisky did, and Trubisky had a 300-yard game. He was 140 with a touchdown, had 9 points.
Yeah,
like,
but I mean, it seems like he's actually been kind of decent under Matt Rule so far.
Yeah. He's the big huge boner for the fantasy football geeks. I mean, he gets his numbers. He gets his late numbers. I mean, so basically he's Andy Dalton. So
I mean, I got Rob Roby Anderson, so I mean it helps me out a little bit. He's been decent.
But no, it's like I like Matt Rule.
Matt Rule's decent.
I like him. He's good. I mean, it's a future team, but I don't think it's a future with. I really don't think it's much of a future with Teddy Bridgewater. I think they need a new one. But
I don't see him being the long-term QB there. I mean, I like Teddy B more than Kirk Cousins. I don't like Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins,
prime time.
Kirk Cousins has James Bond's look with Gold Bond's arm. Jesus,
I don't know. Like he's paid way too much, man.
I mean, Minnesota screwed up so badly getting him because I think they were ready. I think they were originally ready. Don't get Kirk Cousins. They had him. It's like because they had a defense. See, the Bears in 2008 had Kyle Orton, and then they go after. They went 9-7. Then they go after Jay Cutler, and it's like Orton didn't make mistakes.
Yeah,
they didn't make mistakes. It's like Orton's not going to be a star. I mean, he was just a balding dude that drank a lot and was married and went home, and I guess he was a tax accountant.
It was like right after they paid what's his name, Case Keenum, a ton of money, and then they're like waited a year or two and like, nah, he's not the answer. We're gonna just pay Kirk Cousins all that money now.
I mean,
right?
But that's the point, though. It's like these teams and fans, because fans are the blame for this. It's like the emotional nitwits.
Yeah,
they're the ones. The biggest thing about it is the fact that it's like you make mistakes by just trying to see the grass is green on the other side. And like for instance, like I said, Orton in 2008, you didn't have to get Cutler. You could have just kept that defense. Orton makes no mistakes.
Could have just ran with it.
Run with it. Get a couple pieces around him. I mean, multiple playoffs.
Yeah,
multiple times, and it's like
that's the way a lot of teams make that mistake.
Yeah,
instead of actually building around what they have,
Minnesota
they just decide to. Yeah,
Minnesota did too. Everybody's trying to go for the biggest thing now, but the biggest thing? You want to know where the biggest thing came from? College. No one knew Mahomes was going to be that good. Shut up, Bears fans. You didn't know Mahomes was going to be that good. It's like, and it was between Watson and Trubisky.
Like we could have picked him in the draft.
Shut up.
You didn't even know.
It's like
he was sitting behind Alex Smith, and they didn't even know until
right.
It's like you know who knew? Andy Reid knew. No one else did. And it's like he came from college, and he came from a system in Texas Tech that was a high-powered system, which so many quarterbacks have bombed. And they came from that, and he ended up being. But constantly picking this free agent that's not going to be that good. That is not going to be that good just to try to get past the finish line. Sometimes you can just burn yourself worse. Sometimes you need to just stick with it.
Got you. Vern, this next game, I know you really want to talk about. I know you were hype about it. The Pats and the Cardinals.
Man,
you guys got a nice dub there.
I was surprised because Cam was playing like ass the whole time. It was terrible.
It's like for some reason the past couple it looked pretty dire for you guys, and then
he came in on that.
You guys
end,
keep
man.
getting you keep seeing a little brighter light each week, and you're like, is there a little bit of hope?
All I know is James White coming through with all of our running backs dealing with what they're dealing with. He ended up doing great. It's nice seeing James White coming and just scoring 2 touchdowns. I don't know what it just brings me back to the Super Bowl, years ago. But it's nice seeing James White doing shit, especially this year with his father doing like at the beginning of the season. I like seeing James White have a nice game. But that being said, like Cam Newton didn't even complete 10 passes. It was kind of bad as far as like his stats go. But we won the game. Like he said, I'd rather have an ugly win than a pretty loss. So it is what it is as far as that goes.
Last person said that was Foles. Last person said that was Foles. We were 5-1, and we haven't won since. But
I predicted that on the podcast. I don't know.
Hey,
you.
I'm happy they got the win. Move on, keep going. We're still 2 games behind Miami even for a playoff position. So his season's still going. We'll see what happens. We'll see. We still play them.
I mean, the Cardinals. The Cardinals are one of those teams.
We'll see what happens.
You're gonna listen to me, I promise you. But no. Here's the thing: it's like the Cardinals are showing that they're not a Super Bowl team yet. They're too.
I was gonna say. It's just growing pains, I think.
Powerful offense that doesn't know it's powerful about every other week.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, they almost had 300 yards. They usually get like 400 total offense, and they only had 298.
Yeah.
And the defense actually.
I've noticed that as well. Is like every other week, they're fine. They're still trying to figure things out. They're fine. Figure things out.
Well, they're young. They're young.
Yeah, like, exactly.
Exactly. Even the coach is still probably dating. It's just, he's probably got 3 girlfriends. Come on. It's like, they're young. Here's the thing about
D-Hop now.
But here's the thing.
Nice seeing him out there.
Well, think of a difference. I brought up Dallas. Bring it to I remember getting the easiest pick of the year, Arizona over Dallas when it was in Dallas. Here's the thing: the difference between Cliff Kingsbury and Mike McCarthy. Cliff Kingsbury, young, probably has 3 girlfriends if he does have a wife, and on the side. You're fresh, you're hip. The speed, all that kind of stuff. And then old and fat.
Old and fat.
How
you gonna connect? Yeah, it's a little easier for the players to connect with that kind of
thing. Here's the thing: the thing is your coach is probably doing bench presses with your defensive end to do it. Is he young enough? And it's like it's fresh, it's hip, it's cool. That's
why Doug Peterson was giving ice cream to everybody after the meetings during that 27. He was bonding with them. He's like, "All right, guys, we go get some ice cream out here."
Here's the thing, though. Even Matt Nagy, and I'm not fond of the guy because he lied. But here's the thing about Matt Nagy. He even put Club Dub inside of Chicago. So every time that they win, they have this little Club Dub and they dance around in there.
I remember that.
I remember seeing that.
He still has that when they win. But it's like. But the thing is, you got to think in the younger deal. And it's like, and here's the thing, Mike McCarthy, I'm going to ape Colin Cowherd here a second. Mike McCarthy's trying to look relevant. These guys are relevant. It's like even Matt Nagy's relevant. He did Club Dub. He's got all their Club Dub's got all the latest.
McCarthy's
music.
just not relevant.
He's not relevant. It's like, forget ice cream. He'd probably get you castor oil.
He wasn't even relevant, really, the last couple years of him coaching for the Packers.
Right.
Really.
Look who the Packers have now. Young, fresh.
Exactly. And people, the emotional with fans were even though they went to the conference championship last year, they were still something's not right. There's disconnect between him and Rodgers, LaFleur. Is Aaron going? Is LaFleur going? What's going on? And it's they're fine. It seems like
can be emotional nitwits too,
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're trying to get clicks.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about kind of earlier with the media saying all this turmoil within the Eagles organization right now. They do it every time. As soon as they see some little story, they just kind of run with it. But yeah, moving on. We don't really have to talk about this one too much. The Dolphins and the Jets. It's the Jets.
It's a pretty easy pick. We both got Miami on that one.
Patrick played.
The Jets have 152 points all year now. 152 points. They've had 3 points this year 4 different times. And Dowell Loggins, and this is the thing about. I'm going to give you guys a little joke, but you might laugh or you might not. Dowell Loggins, he's a 40-year-old man, looks about 60. He was with the Bears in Trubisky's years in his rookie year. From the 20 to the 20, he's amazing. So he's like the friend. He's like the friend zone guy, the hot chick.
Yeah.
From the 20 to 20, he's the nice guy, and he's going to open the door for her, and he's going to all that stuff. But when it's time to score, think about it. It's like the hot chick's like, oh, you're such a good friend. Have a good night. Dowell Loggins. That is Dowell Loggins. That's Dowell Loggins' offensive coordinator. He has been 7 years an offensive coordinator, only been over 300 points twice.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And here's the thing: if you watch him with the Bears, it was the same way. And it's like I bring the friend zone. He is a friend zone of OCs, and it's like, but this is the thing though. He is pretty flashy from 20 to 20. He actually does kind of some cool stuff, but he is horrible in the red zone.
Yeah.
They don't score. They don't do anything. And the thing is, Dowell Loggins, take a look at his picture. He's actually only a 40-year-old man. He looks about 60. He looks like the. Have you ever seen that little meme from Steve Buscemi?
Yeah.
Hello, fellow kids.
Hello, yeah, on the skateboard.
That's what Dowell Loggins is. Hello, fellow kids. Trying to look cool to his kids, and he's like 40 pounds overweight.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Dowell Loggins can actually run an offense a little bit. He actually knows these, but he doesn't score.
I just looked up a picture of his guy.
And I mean, the Dolphins, on the other hand,
You're
the
so
Dolphins
right.
are just like, they're without Tua. I mean, I want to see Tua a little bit more. I mean, I know I think he has like a hand injury right now, but I would like to see him a little bit more. I think that Dolphins team will really I would like to see that Dolphins team kind of grow with him.
I have to keep reminding Shearer, just like I reminded you that did Patriots. But I have to remind Shearer all the time that they're not ready yet.
Well, they're not contenders by any means. But
he wants to think that they're going to the Super Bowl now, and whether he
will. Oh no, it's going to be a couple years, but
no, they're going to be elite. I mean, Brian Flores is awesome. They're going to be elite. They're just not there yet.
Yeah, absolutely. The next game we have is the Browns and the Jaguars. Jaguars are in it pretty much because the Browns stink, and Baker Mayfield just can't throw open touchdown passes for some reason. It's like multiple weeks in a row. Baker Mayfield has someone wide open in the end zone and overthrows them.
And who brought Mike Glennon out of the dust?
Oh my gosh.
That's like, when I look at Mike Glennon, I think he and Foles need to have a 40-yard dash for Foles' wife. I mean, God. He
had like one nice bomb though in that game.
He has an arm. So does Foles. But what I mean by that is, oh my God, they're slow. Oh my dear God. It's like Vince McMahon, the guy from the WWE. Vince McMahon says giraffes are pussies. And kind of Foles and Glennon kind of proved that point.
Yeah.
They're just big, tall giraffes that can't move. But both have really good arms, though. It's just,
I've said it. I'm just not I'm not sold on the Browns. I know they have 8 wins now.
They're 8-3. They'll make the playoffs, but they're
not
going to
make
last
the playoffs.
long.
I just don't think they're not going to do anything in the playoffs.
No.
I don't think that defense is strong enough.
You know what the Browns' best chance actually is to win one?
What?
Get a lower seed and go to the lower seed, because get from the lower seed from the higher, there's an overrated one somewhere that they could take them out with their defense. But if they're a higher seed, there's some pretty loaded teams.
People are saying that's what Tampa Bay's doing. They're trying to get a low seed to play play like the NFC East or something.
Which I want Chicago to do, to be honest.
I know that's what you're saying.
Yeah, that's because here's the difference. Brady can sweep them all the way because he's been there before. The Bears, I just want, and I'm just being honest.
You just want to win in the playoffs.
I just want a playoff win and the momentum, because they're not beating the Cardinals. They're not beating the Saints. They're not beating they can beat them. And the only 4 teams that they can beat in the NFC in any kind of playoff is the NFC East.
Yeah.
Before
things started looking really bleak, my whole thing was I wanted us just to go to the playoff. I had no intention of us really beating anybody in the playoffs, but I wanted the Eagles to go to the playoffs just so Carson has some playoff experience. He had barely any last year before he got concussed. I just wanted to see him kind of have some playoff experience.
They're only a game off, and you got to realize.
Yeah,
Doug Peterson gets hot late for some reason.
I know, but it's just I don't think anything's going to change. At this point, I'd rather have a good pick. but I don't think Howie Roseman's going to do anything.
No. I mean, and Vern, you can say this because you guys have been dominant for 20 years. Vern, you can say this part, but I'm saying this. It's like, what's the point of going after picks if you have Howie Roseman and we have
exactly? That's what I'm saying. Even if we got a good pick, Howie Roseman's he's going to waste it.
And let me tell you this: I like Pace, Ryan Pace. I like him a lot, and I don't even mind. I actually like there's reasons I like the Trubisky thing, which I'll go into later. My personal deal, but he's best in the third and fourth rounders, and got Eddie Jackson, and I mean I can just give an example all the time. I mean this year Darnell Mooney, it's like he is just wonderful in the low third and fourth rounds, and it's like so I like Ryan Pace, but it's like those and I can say this: if Philadelphia ever end up getting Ryan Pace one day, I'm just going to give you a straight up hedge that the third and fourth rounders. That's where he'll drive you nuts in the first round too. But third and fourth rounders, I mean,
that's where he finds like the
He gets
diamonds.
these goals. He got these diamonds, yes. And it's like, no, it's like, see, Howie Roseman reminds me of Trent Baalke over in San Francisco back in during the years of Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Trent Baalke blew 2 straight drafts, 14 straight picks.
Yeah.
Trent Baalke blew that, and it's like, so everybody that says that their GM sucks, try to compare yourself to that level of suck. You blew 14 straight picks. One set of picks 1 year had a total of 1 pass in his career. Nobody else played.
Oh my gosh.
Haven't even played. Oh my god.
I mean,
and it's like that's telling you how bad some GMs can get. So when you say, "Oh, I want a new GM," it can always get worse.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as Howie Roseman goes, I think he's an amazing numbers guy. He's great at making contracts and making things work within the cap. He's just not a good talent assessor. He's not good at going out and figuring out who to get or evaluating rookies. I think he's good at actually fixing the books and kind of moving numbers around, which what he used to do before he got moved up to GM. But he's got to go, man. I don't know. But moving on, the Saints and the Broncos kind of was expected. Yeah. Because as everybody knows now, the Broncos had no QBs on the active roster due to, I guess they weren't even they didn't even test positive. They were like isolated due to like close contact, I guess. Right. And they had to bring somebody in
meetings with no masks together and stuff. So they were just like, oh, well, you're gonna just
so they had to bring in like a practice squad QB with I think he got the job the day before the game, so he barely had any plays down.
He made $35,000 in one day.
Yeah. Dude. And at the end of the game, they lost the game 31-3. At the end of the game, they were all celebrating and patting him on the back and smiling and everything. Like, you made it, man.
1 for 9 for 13 yards and 2 picks. So basically he's a Danny Dimes person.
Yeah.
He's their favorite.
Oh my god, yeah, it was terrible. I'm surprised they even got 3 points on the board.
Probably
apparently they're all back to practice now. So
yeah, they're all officially
they're gonna have a quarterback next week.
Whatever that's worth.
Yeah, we'll see.
Let's bring up Taysom Hill a second. I remember
Taysom Hill,
the Bears morons. They were trying to say Taysom Hill looks better than our quarterbacks. It's like, give him another week. Guess what? 87 yards. 87 yards. Right. And it's like, and then the week after that, he's gonna get smacked by Atlanta. And you haven't smack him around now.
What's interesting is since he's been starting, you haven't really heard much from Alvin Kamara. He hasn't really done much because it's just like Taysom Hill just running it, getting 2 touchdowns a game. Somehow.
Well, you got to realize when you're being a brand new quarterback is different from being a gadget guy. Yeah. He's normally a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
He's a gadget guy. You do everything. Being a regular quarterback, okay, you got to think Tim Tebow a second here. When you're Tim Tebow, and this is what Taysom Hill really is. When you're a Tim Tebow, you have to have your comfort level of who you want to throw to. And the amount of plays, you don't spread the ball. You don't do all that stuff because, see, this is what a lot of people don't understand with the game. There's signals. I mean, from the offensive line, the defensive lines, the quarterbacks, the everything. And when you have that many signals, remember, if you're a brand new quarterback, they don't. And it's like, I mean, you're not going to be comfortable spreading the ball around. It's like, I'll give you a Jim Harbaugh deal from '92, and yeah, I'm going to sound like an old man. I got gray hair, but I'm going to give you this. Any of you ever seen the video of Mike Ditka just reaming Jim Harbaugh out?
Yeah, I've seen a couple videos of Mike Ditka reaming a bunch of people out.
Let me give you a story behind that. I watched the game too. The Bears were up 20-0 in the fourth quarter in Minnesota. Harbaugh decides to run an audible when he did not have permission to do, because the tyrant Ditka, he was a tyrant in his offense. Well, he ran the audible. No one's used to the audible, because it's a loud stadium, and one of the running backs, Neil Anderson, missed the signal.
Yeah.
So of course he runs the play, and Anderson's supposed to stop in the audible, and he didn't. He just kept going, and it was intercepted for a touchdown. Then the Bears lost, and he went completely off. The Ditka went off on Harbaugh, and it's like, that's the example of what I brought up, just an older story, but there's signals to this. There's all of these deals, and that's something that Taysom Hill would possibly do if he had too many things to think about, because there's so much to think about as a quarterback.
Oh yeah.
So definitely. I just brought up, and I'm going to bring up older stories because you guys are younger, but I'm bringing them as examples.
I mean, it's refreshing though, because it's a different take that we're not used to hearing. As far as the next game was the 49ers and Rams, I think we both picked the Rams in this one, Vern.
We did. I was actually surprised.
That was one of my two losses this week.
Yeah, I mean, I did not think the 49ers were going to be in this game really at all.
I know, Nick Mullins with a win. Now you can drink chocolate milk this week. But something is like, guess what? Robbie Gould, another game winner.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
You're talking to a Bears fan who's very depressed right now. Because I'm watching, the guy could have probably got us to a Super Bowl because he would not have double donked.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then 2 years later after that, 5 years after he leaves, still game winners. Even if he's not as great as he was, game winners.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
he's good in clutch time.
He doesn't miss game winners ever. I mean, like literally in the last 10 years, he's missed 2 game winners.
Jeez.
10 years, damn.
That is absurd. And it's like, he doesn't miss. And so you're looking at a sad Bears fan. As
long as they get him into position, he'll win the game for you. But I really don't know what to think about this other than it's a divisional matchup,
Yeah.
I went into this with like, the Rams are going to win this. 49ers are depleted. I know they're getting healthier as they go, but come on, it's Nick Mullins. Like, but
yeah,
hey, sure enough.
Okay.
They didn't have
the great
Kittle.
Thing about him, he's not CJ Beathard. That's the greatest thing about him.
Yeah.
It's true.
But still.
I mean, the Rams, they're another team that we were saying is like, they're so spotty. Like, they look all right one week, and then the next week th're just like they're shut down or something. Right. I don't know.
Jared Goff is the I like Jared Goff a lot, but he's a fantasy dream. That's all he really is. It's like he's looking at his 4,500 yards, whatever. He got 46 last year.
Mm-hmm.
Jared Goff is the fantasy dream. He's got a lot. Here's the deal. He's got a perfect system. That's why I brought up with Cam.
Yeah.
Cam would be perfect in that system. You have Robert Woods. You can just drop it 3 yards. He'll go 30. You got Cooper Kupp. You can go 10 yards. You get that. It's like, and he can run a little bit. And it's like, and
they can get the yards after catch.
5 plays, 70 yards, touchdown, and Cam wouldn't even have to. See, that's the thing. Cam's using too much energy for the amount of injuries he's had. The Rams he would be using no energy at all.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good way of looking at it. The next game here was the Chiefs and the Buccaneers, which the score makes it look closer than it actually was.
Yeah.
It ended up 27-24, but the Chiefs ran away with it, and they kind of just let their foot off the gas. Tyreek Hill had 200 yards before the
first
end of the
quarter.
First. Yeah, and it was crazy.
It was ridiculous.
By the way, guess what? Mahomes. I picked Mahomes for my first pick in fantasy.
Nice. He did really well.
I told you, stay the hell away from running backs. It's like, and I'm not saying, and a lot of people aren't going to listen to me. People want to get Derrick Henry, but then who knows if he gets injured next year. But quarterbacks are a lot more valuable. And guess what? Later in the year, I'm still dominating. A lot of people are getting desperate. They're losing their guys. They're losing their Dalvin Cooks. They're losing their guys, and I'm still I'm probably getting stronger.
Yeah.
But
And I mean,
but no, the thing is, I love BA. I love Bruce Arians.
yeah.
A 43-year-old quarterback with Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians wants a young guy.
Yeah.
He wants a young guy to mold.
Usually quarterback whispering is done on younger quarterbacks, not already aged quarterbacks.
Bruce Arians was the only guy that Peyton Manning ever listened to. He's a guru. He's a legitimate guru.
Yeah.
He knows offense better than any deal whatsoever. And I'm not going to listen to Dan Orlovsky call him a coaching malpractice. I mean, not like Dan Orlovsky, but he still ran out of the end zone.
He was talking about that today.
He still ran out of the end zone. I mean, but
oh my God, I'll never forget that.
But it's like BA. Oh, I love.
Well, like this, I think this is like the three out of 5 games that Tom Brady threw 2 picks in a game. I think they said
he's still going to have 13 picks or something. Give me a break. And guess what? Look at their schedule.
Yeah, I think he's already over 10.
Look at
I think
their
right.
schedule left. They're going to win 10. Give me a break.
I mean, that's another team. It's like I don't know if they're going to be able to beat any of these like decent teams in the playoffs. So that's the thing.
The difference between a Chicago, and I'm going to bring that up when we get to that game. The difference between a Chicago and a Tampa Bay is Chicago's in a hope for if they would win out or they get 4 games or something, they're in a hope to get an NFC East team.
Yeah,
you're in that hope because that's your one chance because there's no way they have any kind of luck, regardless of who the quarterback is, to get any of those other teams.
Yeah,
Tampa Bay, Tom Brady can get hot and it's over.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just what it is.
It just seems like something's just so funky within that offense. Like it seems like that should be the perfect offense with all the weapons they have. It's just they're not figuring it out.
No, it's not going to be a perfect offense with a guy that likes teaching.
You think it's too many cooks in the kitchen? Like too many like big names on the offense? Like you got Gronkowski, you got AB, you got Mike Evans, got all these.
Well, for one thing, you got AB against Y. It's like so you can give him another chance. But the biggest thing is you've just got a 43-year-old quarterback. And I personally wanted Brady on the Bears, and he nearly came. I think Matt Nagy wanting to be the system is why he didn't come. But Tom Brady he's just in an era where everybody's running, and he has 1,000 yards in 20 years. So and
that just happened, like
like last year, like at 14.
I remember 14. That was
he
a big
runs
deal.
So
like,
weird.
Tom Brady got 1,000 rushing yards.
He runs like he's bow-legged.
Okay, so he runs like Mike Glennon. But the thing is, Bruce. People can get mad at Bruce Arians not because they listen to Orlovsky, but Bruce Arians is a phenomenal teacher.
Yeah,
I don't like what they did in Tampa Bay and I'm not a fan of Jameis Winston, but Jameis, if you're going to let it fly the way Bruce Arians let it fly, and then you're going to let him go, that's kind of dirty pool. And it's like, Jameis Winston's not a great quarterback, but
it's like that meme of like Eric Andre, like shooting the dude. It's like Bruce Arians, and it's like, why did you, like Jameis Winston, like you expect him? Why did why? He's like, oh, Jameis, you threw 30 picks, even though you're bombing it every like.
You see, a guy like BA would keep getting work. He is a tremendous teacher. He just needs a young guy he can mold. You can't teach a 43-year-old man.
Exactly.
It's like they'll get to playoffs, they'll get as far as they get, but it's like,
yeah. I mean, and speaking of you talk about the Bears and everything. We'll talk about the Packers and the Bears game here. That's the next one. The Packers, ultimately, Aaron Rodgers, I mean, Green Bay's defense is pretty terrible. But, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he's a bad man. Yeah. He's just he's going to score a touchdown pretty much almost every drive.
He's a prick, but he's a bad man.
I like Aaron Rodgers.
He's a prick. It's like, and I'm not saying prick because he beats the Bears. I mean, he beats the Bears, so did Favre. But he's a prick because how he treats his family. I can't put up with that.
Yeah, I mean, I understand.
I can't put up with that. It's like I am very close with my family. You have to understand the part. I am close with my family, and when I get myself married one day, you understand? When I get myself married one day for the first time and do everything, family means a lot to me. So when I see somebody have trouble with his own brother, and then the news has to get it onto that thing. It's like it shouldn't have ever gotten out there. Then the guy's a prick. He's a prick. And it's
I was very iffish on him, but I don't know if you ever watched Pat McAfee's show or not. But he's on
Wrestle too. Watching Wrestle too.
I have not. I've only seen clips, but I watch his show pretty much every day. And every Tuesday, Aaron Rodgers comes on for an hour, and they kind of just like
two pricks.
It's Aaron Rodgers with a side like you don't usually see of Aaron Rodgers. He kind of breaks down the game. He kind of talks about like everything behind the scenes of football, which is kind of cool. I don't know. He just seems like a down to earth dude. He's very chill. I know about the issues with his family and everything, but I mean,
he's a smart.
It's kind of cool to see his view on everything.
He's smart. He's a phenomenally smart quarterback. But bringing up that game, I'm going to bring up the Bears side first.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
351 yards total offense ain't wonderful, but it's more than 2 weeks combined with Foles. So they were obviously moving the ball better with Mitchell Trubisky, and it was completely obvious it's because he can roll around and he can actually move, and they have to commit to one side, and it's like that's what and that when defenses don't have to commit anywhere, especially in this era, it's obvious that you're not going to run anywhere with a statue of a quarterback.
Yeah.
So Mitch's thing is the fact it's obvious that he's, as far as his arm is not the same as it was when he his rookie year, but it is completely obvious that he's starting to get the reads better and he's starting to get these deals, but he's not ready to beat a Packers team.
It could be from him being out too, I mean, was like his first game back, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, but at the same time, it was definitely obvious he'd been working with Riley Ridley. So it's like, it's obvious he's been working with him because those two had a couple of connections. But
yeah,
it's obvious they've been working together because that was perfect setups. But the thing about Mitchell Trubisky is I call him flawed Mahomes. I call him flawed Mahomes, and it's funny, it is. And it's like I call him flawed Mahomes because if you go back to the Packers game of last year, he made a couple of Pat Mahomes moves, a couple of Pat Mahomes throws. Even the little sidearm throw.
The sidearm throw, yeah.
It's like he has the ability to make those amazing plays. I've never seen a Bears quarterback make more fourth and longs than that guy does. Because he has both the feet and that to do that. So he's just flawed. But the biggest thing about it is the fact, I said it for ages, if you're going to replace Mitchell Trubisky, to get it right, get the offensive line and do it right. I wanted Tom Brady. And the reason I wanted Tom Brady is a guy like Charles Leno on the left-hand edge would not be in the game. When you have a Tom Brady, you are held accountable.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted Tom Brady, is because a guy like Charles Leno's out of the Bears, off, done. And I wanted Brady because he's going to expect the offensive line to be something. He's going to expect it. And then when you have that, I grew up with excellence from the Bears, and I want to see it again. And they need something like
it's going to force you to fix those problems.
Yes. It's forcing the thing, and that's why I wanted Brady. I thought Brady would probably be the same way with the Bears he is with the Bucks. He struggles, and then he'd get his. They weren't going to be 15 and 16 and 0 at 43 years old.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. You gotta realize these little details. Is if you're going to, when a guy like Mitch can make plays, you can't just replace him because a bunch of emotional nitwits wanted Deshaun Watson. Or they wanted, or they pretend.
Hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah, it's like, or Mahomes was.
We could have drafted Metcalf instead of J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, and we're still kicking ourselves over that.
Yeah, and it's like, and it's one of those things. It's like, here's the deal. He's got 23 more. He has got 23 more touchdowns and interceptions in his career. He's about 62.8% percentage as far as his completion, which ain't wonderful, but he makes a lot of plays. And if you're going to replace him, make it right.
Yeah.
And
pick the right guy.
Just because you're mad that they didn't get your guy, and you're throwing a fit like a lot of the people that were when Trump got elected and they were melting down, and they were doing all that, you know what I mean? It's like, and I'm just saying this, it's like that's what Bears fans have been doing since Trubisky been there. They booed him at the Bulls game.
Yeah,
and they booed him at the Bulls game, and it's like you gotta get. It's like, and the guy has made plays and he's won games. He has 8 career fourth quarter comebacks. He's not perfect, but he's not the worst. So if you are going to replace a playmaker, get it right, or we're going to be.
Don't just find someone to just fill a spot, just for the sake of finding a QB.
I told people, right now. I love Nick Foles, but I told people that replacing him with Mitchell's a mistake. And
no, you got it. If you're gonna have Nick Foles, you got to use him correctly, and that's if you're losing, bring him in the second half of the game. That's how you activate the Foles magic. You got to bring him in when someone gets injured, and then he's all right. But you can't just have him starting every game. It's not going to work.
We started every game going through the playoffs, but they had an offensive line. You got to get an offensive line. You got to let him step back and look and survey the field, because he's better at surveying the field than Trubisky is.
Yeah.
But it's like, and then there's Tyler Bray for the third, which I loved him at Tennessee, but he's the same boat. He's a big gunslinger. He's going to be like Matt Barkley.
Yeah.
Matt Barkley in 16 for the Bears was. He once had a game where he threw 40-yard passes 11 times.
Jeez.
I mean, it got picked off 3 times.
Oh my God.
But that's what Tyler Bray would be.
Yeah. It doesn't help that you got Aaron Rodgers on the other side, just like slicing and dicing like a field general. Like he knows, like he sees he can read the defense whenever he gets up to the line. He knows what's going to happen. Like he's throwing no look passes and stuff, like, which is why, like, I saw Russ doing that last night too. It blows it's crazy to see it during an actual game whenever like they're looking one way and then they just throw, like, how accurate they can be while doing that.
See, as far as the Bears goes, they've got a very favorable schedule. And they've got I saw that. They got 3 really crummy teams. And the thing about it is, I look at it this way: they're winnable games. Mm-hmm. We don't, as far as the system and how the players are in, are they hooked? Are they hooked to believing that they can take 4 of those games at least? Yeah. And a 5th if they rest the starters. And a 5th if you rest the starters on Green Bay. But I'm saying, are you in? If they're not in, I mean, Mitch Trubisky has a 122.9 career QBR against Detroit, and I'm not kidding you. Mm-hmm. It's like he can beat them, but it's like if you lose to them, the season's over. It's like, especially when he dominates Detroit like that. Yeah. So it's one game at a time. It's basically best of 1 at this point, because there's too many teams, especially in the best of 7, with the 7 seeds. So it's like one game at a time. I think they can take 4. But it just depends on how hooked are they. How hooked are the Bears into this? And if you can't beat any of those crummy teams, then you don't belong anyway. So you just have to think. You just have to go in each and every week. And Matt Nagy, he lied, and he needs to go.
Hey, man, I totally agree with you. Everything, like, you make sense. Like, whenever you say something, like, I don't know, you kind of paint everything in a clearer picture. Like, I understand what you're saying.
And I'm sorry I'm taking Vern's time. I really am. I'm taking all your time. But...
You're good.
And I guess we'll talk about the Monday night game a little bit. The Seahawks, they beat the Eagles. I picked the Seahawks to win this game. I think we both picked the Seahawks to win this game, Vern.
Yep.
Only good that came out of this game was I was surprised on how well our defense played. Like, they were giving Russ a little bit of trouble. I mean, I know DK Metcalf had like 170 yards, but they didn't really have a run game. Russ wasn't running around like a crazy man like usual. It seemed like our defense had somewhat of a decent game. They gave our offense plenty of chances to win, but once again, the offense didn't change. Miles Sanders was like, they used him 6 times and that was it pretty much. Yeah, I mean, it's just, it doesn't look good. Nothing's changed. We've talked about it before. Like, Carson, it seems like he does a lot better in up tempo, and whenever they roll him out, they rolled him out once in that game, and he had a 17-yard completion. Like, the one time they roll him out, he gets a 17-yard completion, and then doesn't happen the rest of the game. I mean, it's like I forget who it was. I think it might have been Louis Riddick or someone. They were saying like Doug Peterson he's coaching like he wants to be fired, and it's like it makes sense in a way, but like I don't think he's coaching to get fired. Obviously,
that name Lewis Riddick. The team's fans want Lewis Riddick as a GM. It's like
I'm not going that far.
Oh God, it's like
but
he hasn't.
I'm
he's
just
been on the
not
TV.
sold.
I don't want another Gruden. Here. I mean, come on.
But I mean the Seahawks, Russ, he's dangerous, man. He's WrestleMania. I mean the Seahawks that defense is going to hold them back in the playoffs inevitably. I mean, but that offense is pretty decent, though. I got to give them credit where credit's due. That offense is great, but that defense is terrible. And even the Eagles couldn't do anything against like the worst ranked defense in the league. So,
well, I'm gonna bring this up about the Eagles, about Doug Peterson. Okay, I'm gonna paint a little picture for you, just like I'm doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Doug Peterson gets hot in December, whatever ass reason he does. And
I know.
Yeah. I'm just bringing this part up to you. It's like, if he doesn't get hot anymore, he does have to go. But I'm bringing this to everybody. I'm bringing this to everybody on the Eagles thing, because a lot of them aren't going to listen because they want to beat up the Cowboys fans. I don't know what they want, but it's like, but the thing about the Eagles is, realize that Buddy Ryan got replaced by Rich Kotite years ago, and Kotite was, I mean, good God, I mean, you want awful.
Yeah,
it was a different game, but awful,
just
horrible. And it's like, it can always just remember when you do something. It's like, what if he runs another December string and takes a playoff again? And I'm not saying Peterson's perfect. I'm not saying any of that kind of stuff, but that's 4 straight division titles if he does it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he would lose his job if he won the division. I think he would still lose possibly like play calling. He would have to hire an OC. But I don't think he would lose his job at that point.
But this is what I'm saying to the fans. So I'm not bringing it to you because you're listening. But it's like, this is what I'm saying to fans.
Oh, yeah.
Quit trying to just – it's like, you got 3 straight division titles. This could be 4.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and he gets these big December runs. Then you see, when you do this, then you never know. You never know if you get the wrong guy and all of a sudden you're 4-12, 5-11. And it's like, and that 5-11 will be because of Dallas got a younger person and they're 13-3. And you don't know what happens in the next couple of years. You got everything you do, you got to make it right.
I agree. I mean, it's so unclear as of right now. I mean, if anything, at the very least, I think Howie Roseman's got to go. I mean, he's just not building a great team. Even last year,
he just looks like John Ossoff from Georgia. He just looks like
dude. It's just so frustrating because I mean, as a fan, I want to watch the games every week, but it's so frustrating because I know how every game's going to plan out from here on out, unless something like what you're saying. So, like if Doug somehow changes it around and gets things turned around here in December, but like as of right now,
this happens all the time. The last 3 years, this.
I know.
He has a horrible time, and then it comes. But I'm saying,
yeah.
It's one thing if he doesn't do it this year. It's another if he does it again. And it's like,
yeah,
all of a sudden you're going to be 2021. You're going to be lamenting those years when you had 4 straight division titles.
Yeah, I think the only difference was the last couple of years we didn't have only 3 wins at that point. I think we had 7 or 8 wins at that point.
5-7. You're 5-7 last year. And you got the 4.
5-7.
That is where the EVP decides to go scream at the TV. I'm tired of losing, even though you have a Super Bowl. You big fat piece of shit.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just that.
I don't know, man.
It was 5-7 going to 9-7. It's like, just have to. It's one of those things. Like, is there a coach? It's one thing if you would get if you get Andy Reid back, but the thing is, I'm just saying that you don't have the same system. I
just don't think the team looked this abysmal the past couple years as it does this year, where the offense just looks so stagnant. Like they can't do anything on offense, and it's depressing.
But what if you went 2-14?
I mean, I probably feel the same way, to be honest. Like at this point, I'm kind of
now. I'm talking about the year after when you. That's my point. What if you went 2-14? It's like it's one thing. It's one thing if you got a younger coach that would just make you forget Peterson and he gave you a new fresh start. It's one thing.
Yeah.
But what if you just get some stagnant coach, get McCarthy, get a whatever, and then you're 2-14, and it's like
right there where we were.
It's like piece it all together. Put yourself in the shoes of a GM or something. Piece it all together. And like, see, emotions do not allow people to do this.
I agree. I mean, who knows? It's going to be a weird offseason, that's for damn sure, especially with, I mean, for all teams because of the whole salary cap dropping and everything. So you might be seeing some big names drop in off of each team, but.
And what do you think, Vern?
As far as the Eagles,
yeah, what do you think about the Seahawks in the Eagles game, man?
Man, they're not winning the division. I had slight hope of them at first, but like I think it's
New
gonna either
York's
be
gonna win that.
even now with them with Danny Nichols having that injury, it's kind of interesting to see. So like I think it's a three-way race still.
Yeah.
Dallas, I don't think has any chance. I think somehow Washington snuck back into this. New York and Philly.
I just don't see, because the two next games for the Eagles are the Packers and the Cardinals. I don't think there's no way they're beating the Packers.
Cardinals are your possibility because you don't know
the slight, and then they play Washington and Dallas at the very end of the season, which
are two winnable games.
They're winnable,
you're definitely
but
gonna
I could
beat
see
Dallas.
us dropping. I could see us dropping to Washington again, though. That's going to be 2-0-2 against Washington on the season because they beat us the first game of the season. So I mean, I don't know. I just don't think it's bright. It's looking bright the rest of the season. I don't think they're winning the division, but hey, you never know. I mean, it is football.
Got a better chance than Patriots, man. That's all I'm saying.
My point I'm just saying, my point that I'm making with all that is it's like don't just go off the beaten path. I'm just saying this. 2017 was special. We're not there anymore, though. We can't live off of that, but you can still live off some division titles. And it's like, and the thing is, when I say live off division titles, yeah, they're crappy division titles. It was some crappy divisions, but at the same time, the next guy could get you 2-14, and unless you get a young, fresh, hip, new,
I agree.
And it's like, and so you got to be careful. You really do.
I just think the thing that's kind of like tearing me down is just like consistently seeing nothing change on offense each week. He's not trying to really like shake up the game plan, try to make it look different. He's just like, go back to the drawing board, like whatever he says at the end of each week. He's like, oh, we just got to get better. We got to take a look at ourselves each week and get better. And it's like, all right, yeah, I'm sure. But
he and Nagy are buddies, and you should hear Nagy's press conferences. Well, we had a good practice this week. Oh, sweet.
Yeah, that's what they always say. Awesome. We had a good practice.
I love to know what their bad practices are.
Yeah. And I'm done with Jalen Hurts experiment right now, man. I'm tired of seeing him come out on the field for one or two plays just to run it like they always do.
Well, he's come from Jalen Hurts to Jalen wounds. But
I'm just tired of seeing it. I think it breaks the momentum on the squad. I don't think it helps Carson in any way, at least in his mindset mentally. But I think it's happened a couple times already where they go on a decent drive, and then as soon as they kind of get near the red zone, we're going to put Jalen Hurts in for a gadget play, blows up, lose 3 yards, and then it just ruins the momentum on the offense.
It's the same play every time, almost.
Yeah, same play. If you see him under center with Carson as a wide receiver, you know he's running it. Like they never have him throw it.
Go ahead,
and then Doug goes for fourth. He's like, "Fuck it, we're gonna go for it on fourth down."
There's only one thing I'm gonna ask of you in that. Everybody loved him when he went for fourth down and they were winning and they were going to the Super Bowl. So it's like he had just got to remember he hasn't changed.
I understand, but I mean there has been a couple positions the past couple weeks where like last night he could have kicked the field goal, we would have been within one score. And maybe if we got the ball back, maybe could have scored and brought it back. That's happened multiple times where we could have had a field goal, at least put some points on the board. But no, it's going to go for it. Even he goes for 2 often whenever we score a touchdown, and that more than likely fails. But
when the Bears lost in 2001 to the Eagles, I'm just saying this, when they lost in 2001 to the Eagles in the playoffs, the Bears had like 9 games when they won by like 5 points or more or less, 5 points or less. They had comebacks from like interceptions, a 14 down with 2 minutes left. It was just a miracle year. And then the Eagles just had the better team. But the next year, the Bears were like 2-9 with those. It's like everything. When you have a fourth down play, when you have fourth down plays and it worked as many times as it did for the Eagles in 2017.
Oh yeah.
You run out of luck eventually on things, and then but you have to look at him in that boat. People were calling him the ultimate genius. I remember those years. They were called him the ultimate genius when he was winning it like that.
Yeah.
So it's like he's doing. Should he adapt? Yes. But I mean,
Yeah.
he and Matt Nagy are buddies. It looks like that they trade bad plays like kids trade.
We were
masks at
joking
school.
about that on Twitter. We said that like they were copying each other's homework this offseason.
Yeah, they're trading they're trading kids masks at school. It's like they're trading dirty masks. But it's like, but it's like they're saying the same things. They're good buddies. They're both. See, the thing is, they're both obsessed with plays, with knowing every part of the game. I mean, they destroy every fan.
They overthink it.
Yeah, but it's like the Matt Nagy in the first year was fancy free, cool. It's like in the playoffs he did like a triple reverse. Just to try to get with the quarterbacks with the thing. He did a triple reverse, got like 4
trying different things, doing new things, being original.
He was fresh and fancy free, and all of a sudden now he's a robot. And he's a robot just with a bunch of plays, and he's just like, okay, it's called timeout. Here's 5 more plays. See, Tom Landry was like that. Tom Landry was like that, but it was 1960.
Yeah.
At some point, some people are going to have to learn to coach to where they're coaching people to be adults and make up their own deal, make up their own plays. It's like that's what they're going to have to learn to do, and it's like this is what kills these players is that you're having to go, we have 10 seconds left on the play clock. It's like, what do we do? The delayed game. And that's what we're seeing a lot of right now because everybody's in they're a Ditka. They're literally a Ditka where they have to control every part of the offense.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you got to start training these people. Okay, you're an adult. Okay, did you screw up? Why?
Yeah.
It's like you can make a game plan, but this is why Peyton Manning was as great as he was. Who coached him?
Yeah, it's like Doug at his press conference today. They asked him if he was going to be giving up play calling at all, and he's like, if I felt the need, if I felt like if I was in a rut, I would give up play calling. And that's the key word. If I felt like I was in a rut, you're already in the rut, man. Like you're already in it. Like
I feel it feels special. It feels so special for me to call play. I want to know what's not special about your play call.
I just don't understand it. Like there was reports of like Jeffrey Lurie walking out of practices because he was disappointed with what he was seeing, and it's like, bro, what is like if you're seeing bad practices, like you need to fix this. Like it's the coaching at this point.
Do you know what the biggest issue with coaches are? And I can say this: the number one issue with it is we had that. What was his name? Linton on Denver. What was his name? Linton. The quarterback. The kid that got his lucky.
What was his name? Hitton or something like that.
Hitton.
It was something. He had 13 yards. That's all I know.
This is what my issue with coaches are. The only coach that ever understood this was John Fox and had Tim Tebow. You have a guy who really can't understand a playbook. He was a dyslexic, by the way. Tim Tebow is. He's a dyslexic. He doesn't understand 800-page playbook. So what does he do? He gets it about 3 or 4 pages on a napkin. Go. And he opens Tebow up to use his strength, which is his instincts. And his improbability and everything. Why is he the only coach that understands this part? And if you have a guy like Hinton, why are you giving them a playbook when they are off the practice squad as a wide receiver?
Yeah.
Why he was a quarterback in college? Why don't you just play a bunch of backyard football and just try it?
Have him drawing up plays on the football in the huddle or something.
What the hell is he going to understand?
It couldn't be any worse.
What in the hell is he going to understand? He's not been in this. So what's he going to understand? Of course, you see those interceptions? They were horrible. But you can't blame him.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the point. Why don't these coaches, when you have a new thing, you have a third or fourth string quarterback, you have DiNucci, who sounds like his dad is like a mafia don.
Yeah,
it's like,
Ben DiNucci.
DiNucci. It's this. But no, but DiNucci, it's like Ben DiNucci. It's like, why are you giving him plays? He's a third stringer off of the practice squad. Why are you doing this thing? Why don't you just play a little bit of? It's like do Tebow. It's like Tebow was something special because you gave him like 4 pages, and then he did mostly improbability, and it's like, and of course he wasn't going to make it that far after 2011. But if you're going to try to win, why don't you just if they have 5 interceptions, they have 5 interceptions. But let it fly.
Yeah.
Let it fly. Let them run. Just be whatever. But we got to quit trying to be a tyrant on your system all the time, especially
Trying to
with
make
people that
somebody something they're not.
Yes. It's like that's what I think coaches are they're almost worse than Ditka now as far as their system. It's like we got to get this. It's like you got kids, let it go.
Yeah. You got to learn to adapt with the players you have, like learn to play with their strengths.
What do you think about it, Vern?
As far as what?
As far as just the idea of letting the flip flop and fly with the young kids, just let them have fun and figure. Even if they throw 5 picks.
Right. Well, I mean, you gotta obviously. I don't want to see Herbert out here throwing 5 picks.
Not Herbert, but I'm talking about the kids. That's all. The ones that have never played. That's what I meant.
I mean, how often does that happen, though?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
I mean, it's relatively like that because of the COVID situations as of this year. But.
Right. Like, as if you're talking about that situation, I completely agree. Like, do what you did with Tebow. Like, no reason to try to shove a playbook down his throat in 24 hours, or 48 hours, or even 72. Like, if it's a week, like you're saying, like, just draw up super simple plays that they can at least be semi-successful and try to move the ball. Like you're with what he did, 13 yards, man. Like, what are you doing? 2 picks. Like, it just, I know obviously it wasn't his fault. Like, he had no practice, but he wasn't really put in a position to succeed at that point. So, like, I think he would have been in a better position doing what you were saying, though. Definitely.
I mean, he was in college, like his sophomore, in basically a triple option set, in that area. There's something along I believe it was Wake Forest.
Yeah.
But he's in those kind of college sets. It's like, just give it to him. Why?
And ended up leaving college a wide receiver, I'm pretty sure. So, like,
but
he wasn't even the best quarterback on his team.
But why? That's just my debate I'm going to give to this thing. Why aren't you just letting them fly? It's like, and who knows? They could have upset the Saints. It wasn't like the Saints have a wonderful quarterback back there either.
I think they didn't get enough opportunities. They were doing a little bit too much Wildcat. I understand the reason why behind it, but I think, like, just let it. I agree. Let it fly. Like, fuck it at that point.
It's so 2009, and it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, be dangerous.
And you saw how,
what do you got to lose at that point?
The center flubbing the snaps, and I think it was Lindsey who had the fumbles and it was ugly. It was ugly. It's ugly to watch.
So what do you guys think of Baltimore and Pittsburgh?
I was gonna say, then we were supposed to have another game to talk about, but I mean, it's been delayed for the 3rd time. It's supposed to be played.
Picked a pit on that one.
Yeah, I mean, by the time this comes out, it's played on Wednesday. I think it's like a 3:30 game or 3:40 game. 3:46. So I mean, it's going to be already played. I think I still got Pittsburgh in this. I know they're not going to have Lamar. I mean, they say Ingram and Dobbins are coming back, but that's not going to make a difference against that like Pittsburgh defense.
The thing about I remember last year, I said the fourth week on this, I said they're going to lose in the first game to the Baltimore was, and he was in the middle of his dominance.
Yeah.
And of course they did. And it wasn't because I hate Lamar. In fact, I want to see Lamar like the Louisville Lamar. Louisville Lamar was he was otherworldly. It's like, you guys ever see the movie Rocky 3?
Yeah.
You remember when Mickey tells him you were supernatural, you were this and blah blah blah? That's Lamar. To me, I don't think John Harbaugh gives him a chance to be. I think Lamar could be a different version of Mahomes. I really do. I think he could be so dominant it is unreal. I think he could be an even more dominant version of Vic. But they just run him. They just give him these little ass passes. Once in a while he goes long just because they show you he has an arm. It's like it feels like it really feels like they're not doing. It's like, and that the system that they gave him, they're doing again this year, and people are catching up.
Yeah. Like, I mean, we kind of predicted that here at the beginning of the year. Me and Vern, we talked about how that going into this season that they're going to get figured out at some point. I mean, even after last year with his success, they were going to have a whole offseason to kind of digest what happened and figure a game plan for Lamar Jackson going forward. I mean, it's been working. I mean,
I really believe, and see, do you know something? the only person that's gotten the idea of how to use the black quarterback, as we can say, is Andy Reid, because there has never been a time where anybody's ever called Andy Reid a racist. But I'm just saying, it's true. There's never been that time. He just doesn't care. He doesn't play like that. But it's like, what are you doing in 2020 when you're not giving everything you can to Lamar Jackson?
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. And this is true. And I'm just saying it truthfully, just straight out. To me, there is just this thought. Back in the 70s and the early 80s, you would have to watch, and I've watched these games, and not until like 84, but I'm saying on YouTube.
Yeah.
If you watched a black quarterback in those times, there was those backhanded compliments. Oh, he's a great athlete. He can throw that ball long. Oh, it's like, oh, he can run that. He can run. Woo, watch you fly. That BS.
Yeah.
But now it's like, it's one of those things where it's like the announcers have a lot more reverence. Don't get me wrong. The announcers have they have the reverence of everything. But what about continuing to give them, oh, we got to show your athleticism. We got to show this. We got to do this. And it's like, just give them the whole playbook.
He's been battling that since he came into the league, since before, though. They're like, oh, well, asking him all these questions about running back. And like, I'm a quarterback, sir.
Yeah, running back.
Remember, like that? Those interviews, like, I'm a quarterback. I don't plan on doing that. I'm a quarterback. Like, and that's just the league's changing. I give it a couple more years. Like, you got Kyler Murray coming up. Like, that's how the quarterbacks are going to be. The day and age of the stand in the pocket, Tom Brady quarterback it's over. It's phasing out.
I don't want that for him, but it's like, I think I might be the only person that maybe I talk to myself, but I might be the only person that believes that there's more in Lamar Jackson that they give, even if the MVP year. There's just something missing. He doesn't really have a clutch gene in him, really a clutch deal to him. He doesn't have those plays. If you know what he's going to do if he's winning. If he's winning, they're doing their usual runs. They're doing everything, their usual 3 yards and a cloud of dust.
But if they're like from behind.
If they're from behind, he's trying to sling it, which he doesn't have experience with. And then he gets picked off.
Yeah.
And it's like, they're
trying to break out and run, and he fumbles.
You saw that against like the Pats when you guys were playing the Ravens. Like, they could have came down and won the game.
I'll keep repeating though, like, I think that was the weather, to be honest. The weather was crazy, but I'm glad we won that game. Like, it is what it is, but
Lamar, there's so much more to Lamar than the coaching staff and the league knows. I feel like when I brought up the black quarterback, I feel like that even though there's more reverence from the announcers, I feel like the coaches still treat them like the 70s. A lot, other than Andy Reid, who has given everything from the get-go to Patrick Mahomes. But other than that, there is let's show him as an athlete. And mind you, it's still a different league, but there is that thought process.
I think Deshaun Watson in a different system is almost the same quarterback as Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
To a T. Like, and he just has been. It's a great example of like what you were saying even earlier in the podcast about the system, about Trubisky somewhere else. And like, I think Deshaun Watson is probably the closest thing we have to Patrick Mahomes in the league.
Do you know why I chose Trubisky myself over Mahomes? Not Mahomes. I'm sorry, Watson. My only reason.
What's that?
The knee blowout. The knee blowout at Clemson.
Yeah,
There's a knee blow in Clemson, and then he proved me right when he blew his knee out in his rookie year.
Yeah,
right.
And it's like
I agree with that.
And it's like, and that says to me, and I told you, I think the long game. And the thing that makes me think about it is that by 27 years old, he's going to have a third knee surgery, and he won't be the same anymore. 3 knee surgery is usually your deal,
which is unfortunate.
Yeah,
because I think
where Mitch. With the systems that the Bears have, which would have ruined Watson, you can work with somebody like him who's healthy and give it a while. Where with Watson, you could possibly ruin them, and that's why. I did, because if there's no knee injuries, I'm picking Watson over Trubisky 7 times a week, and all that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's the knee injury. It's like, how long do you have before you see another blowout?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And then he proved me right in his rookie year, and that's the thing. Right now he's healthy and he's awesome. But I think the long term, I want a Hall of Fame quarterback. If I want something, not that Mitch is a Hall of Fame quarterback, but I want long term that you can build around. Definitely. And I don't know how long you can build around Watson, even with this thing. How long before his knee snaps again? He's already had 2 surgeries.
Yeah, especially because he's out there fighting for his life right now. He's got no weapons.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now he's down another wide receiver.
Down even more, yeah. And apparently somebody else got suspended on the Texans too. It wasn't just it wasn't just Will Fuller. There's somebody else that got suspended.
Yeah. That's the only reason I picked the Bears over Houston when they play, is because if it was Will Fuller, the game's over. But it's like he doesn't have it. But that's the thing, though, is we have to think about. Those are the things we have to think about here, is what are we doing? I mean, by itself, when you have a Watson, when you have all those, you have to think about the injuries, and maybe I think like a GM too much, which fans will never understand, you know? But I want a long-term deal, and I don't know if, even with the greatness that Watson is, I don't know how long-term he is.
Yeah.
And he could snap his knee next week, or he could snap it in 2 years, but that 2 years will make him 27. So we'll just see again, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you never know how things are going to turn out. I mean, we signed Wentz until like 2026, and then look, the very next year, look what happened. Has more interceptions than he had during a season. He's been sacked like 40 times, 45 times. Yeah. I mean, it's the contract definitely doesn't look good right now,
right?
Than it did last year or the year before.
Yeah.
But we'll kind of get into our picks here for Week 13 before we head out real quick.
Yeah, we should probably, because we're almost pushing 2 hours here, so let's just like run through these real quick here.
Let's see. We have fun. The time flies when you have fun, right?
I know, man. So the first one we have here is the Saints and the Falcons. New Orleans are the 3-point favorites in this one. Falcons?
I knew he was going to pick the Falcons.
I thought about it.
And I'm
rolling New Orleans.
You got to realize that I've loved him since Raheem Morris showed up. But but the thing is, Taysom Hill's looking worse. He didn't do good in Denver, and it's like, and he's not focusing on Alvin Kamara at all. And it's like, my person I'm playing this week has Alvin Kamara on his team for fantasy, and I'm loving it because he ain't gonna get any points.
And get like 50 yards.
Yeah.
I'm rolling New Orleans. I think this is a game that they need to win to kind of stay competitive as far as like seeding and all that. And I just don't think they let it slip. That's really all my reasoning behind it. I think Taysom Hill still gets 2 rushing touchdowns or something like that. Yeah. Like, they're not going to give Kamara the ball, like you're saying. Maybe he throws a touchdown. Maybe. So like, if Atlanta comes out and plays the way they did against the Raiders and drops a 40-burger or something like that, then it's going to be way harder for Taysom to keep up with that. But I think the defense with New Orleans is a lot better than Vegas, so it'll be a little bit more evened out as far as that goes. I'm just picking New Orleans in that one there.
Yeah, I got New Orleans as well. I can't justify picking the Falcons for some reason. That goes back earlier to the season as well. Whenever I was picking the Falcons at one point, there was a time where I was like, I'm just not picking the Falcons anymore.
My Washington thing, like, no matter how good Washington.
Again, you guys go by a fake momentum. It's like it happens, but it's like you got to go by matchups. And Raheem Morris has got a more improved defense. He's got and it's like, and they're not going anywhere, but they're playing their way out. And I think he's coaching for a job. So
right. It's almost like the opposite of the Saints. Like what I'm saying, like I think they are playing for something more or less. Yeah. Like they're not going to want to lose this. Where the Falcons are like, we're just out here trying shit.
we're just out here trying to ruin people's seasons at this point.
Well, right. Well, the thing is, if it was the Breeze, I'd have the Saints all day long. But Taysom's getting worse. Taysom is getting worse, and the Falcons are getting better.
Yeah. All right. The next game here is the Lions and your Bears. The Chicago is 3-point favorites.
Oh, yeah, Bears will dick slap them. It's like
slap.
They'll dick slap them. It's like,
I was actually going to pick the Bears. I'm going to pick the Bears.
I picked against the Bears 4 times this year, but it's like Trubisky for some reason turns into Mahomes when it comes to the Detroit. I mean, like I said, 122.9 QBR in his career against him.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
mean, like four of his 9 300-yard games were against him. I mean, it's
Okay.
354 against him. That was his 355. That was his record. So
Nice.
yeah, he for some reason he knows what it is with Detroit, and plus the fact the Bears defense is gonna be pissed off, and there's and plus it's Darrell Bevel. He sucks. So the Bears will dick slap him this week.
Yeah, I completely agree. I completely agree. There's especially coming off that Matt Patricia firing.
Yeah.
They're not fielding anything right there.
Exactly.
And the Bears are one game at a time right now. You know, it's like pick it, see, and if you can't beat them, hey, look, I'm looking at it this way. You can't beat them, you didn't belong anyway. But it's like right now you're basically playing for that last seed. So you just do what you do. We'll find out.
It's another must win almost, if you must say.
They're all
right. I definitely
teams.
think Chicago.
And a lot of crummy teams there, so it's like you can't beat
a lot
them.
of winnable games. Yeah, yeah.
The next one here is the battle of the 8-3 teams, the Browns and the Titans.
Oh, Titans will kick the shit out of them.
Yeah, the Tennessee are 5.5-point favorites over the Browns.
Titans have a better overall offense.
Don't trust Cleveland.
Don't trust Cleveland.
Overall offense.
I'm picking the Titans as well.
Even though the defense is nice in Cleveland.
Plus, the defense is nice in Cleveland, but the Browns' offense looks absolutely awful with good teams.
Yes.
So, yeah, I got the Titans in that one. The next one here is the Dolphins and the Bengals. Miami, believe it or not, are 11.5-point favorites.
The Bengals like it's the 70s. It's the
Bengals.
Yeah. No, the
Bengals.
No.
The Bengals.
Yeah, forget. If you pick the Bengals this year at all, you want to lose money. It's over. I mean, Dolphins take this one easy.
Yeah. I'm surprised they're 11.5-point favorites. That was a huge margin. I wasn't expecting. I got the Dolphins all day in this one. The next one is the Vikings and the Jaguars. Minnesota's a 9.5-point favorites on that one.
I'm gonna go the Vikings, but I'm gonna go the Vikings. But just see, Glennon's probably gonna get his interceptions, but he'll always get his touchdown. So I think
it'll be close.
Much. I think it'll be about 6, but I think the Vikings win that one.
Yeah. I got the Vikings in that one.
I don't see the Jacksonville. Even with Minnesota coming off the loss, there's not much to say other than 1-10 now, 1-9. Where Jacksonville
they're the dangerous ones. They're the dangerous one because it's still the NFL, but it's
for sure.
It's still the NFL, but it's like I think that would be a 3 or 4 pick day for Glennon, but he'll get his couple of touchdowns.
Yeah, and I think the Vikings are trying to fight for a playoff spot too.
Kirk Cousins isn't playing terrible. He isn't playing terrible. I think he had like 9 incompletions last game. So he was like 34. It was and 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. It's not like he's playing terrible. It's just
kissing Cousins.
Yeah, it's he fools you sometimes because the stats look nice and then they don't win the game. So it's like, what are the stats for at that point? But it fools me at least. I'm just like,
it gets
I'm
me
gonna pick the Vikings. But I am picking Minnesota in that one there.
Definitely Minnesota. The next one is Raiders and the Jets.
Give me a break.
Picking the Raiders in this one. Jets are going for the full 0-16 this year.
Like I said to you, I'm not fond of Gruden, but I mean, if you lose to the Jets, get out of the league. I think the Jets could hit that 0-16, man. Oh no, this is the worst 0-16 team of all time. It's not even
all time.
I'm telling you that. Let me tell you this right now. Tampa Bay was in that worst category, like back in '76, but they had a good defense. There's nothing on the Jets.
Don't have anything.
They don't have anything. The Tampa Bay just had a horrible offense, but they had a pretty damn good defense those couple of years.
I'm surprised the Raiders are only 8-point favorites in this game for some reason.
Well, for one thing, they have a terrible defense, so people are trying to put that. Who knows? It's like if you put Flacco back in, you'll get your one touchdown, and he'll pass Joe Montana for 20th of all time.
Whatever that means.
I mean, it just shows that we throw the ball too much. That's all it is.
The next one here is the Colts and the Texans.
Colts.
Interesting. Colts. Yeah, Indy's the 3-point favorites in this one. I got the Colts as well.
With Indy.
You see, I like Romeo Crennel, but he's left with nothing from B.O.B. It's like he's left with absolutely nothing, and they don't have any. They don't have Will Fuller.
Straight demolished that team before he got fired. Like before he ran out, he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna tear this whole place down. Good luck rebuilding this.
Yeah.
I got the Colts in that all day.
Same.
The next one should be a good game. Is the Rams and the Cardinals?
That should be a very good game.
Cardinals.
Rams are a 3-point favorite. I am leaning Cardinals. Yeah.
Cardinals.
I'm gonna roll with the Rams.
You're rolling with the Rams.
I'm gonna roll with the Rams here just to be a
It'll be
little,
a great game to
different.
watch.
Devil's advocate.
It'll be a great game to watch, but it's like the Cardinals are in Arizona, aren't they?
Let me see here. Actually, I think they're playing in San Fran because they.
No, San Fran's got to play in Arizona.
Oh, that's it. I got it backwards. Yeah, it's in State Farm Stadium.
See,
I'm glad you're here. You checked me.
Do you realize the aesthetic problem of all this? Of every issue of the fact that they both got to share a stadium.
Yeah, that's going to be a pain.
Do you realize the practice issues and everything that's going to happen with this team now?
I was wondering if like San Fran would have to practice at like some like high school or like some college like area. I didn't, because I assume they're not sharing the same practice field.
No, yeah, that would be fun. It'd be like a fist fight.
Oh my gosh.
No, but I give it to Cardinals just because they're inconsistent, but overall I think even though they're both flashy offenses, I think they're a little flashier.
I think they're more consistent than the Rams. I could see. I could agree with you there. But I could see the Rams squeaking this one out. Just like I said, I just play a little devil's advocate on that one. You both pick Cardinals.
Yeah. The next one here should be an easy pick. It's the Seahawks and the Giants.
Yeah.
Seahawks 10-point favorites.
Without Danny Nichols.
Yeah,
I'm rolling with Seattle.
Seattle's going to.
I'm glad you said that because I'm not going to be able to.
We're going to keep using that.
Totally. It's McCoy mania running wild. I'm telling you guys. No. Seattle. Give me a break.
Next one here, Vern. Want to know
the only
your
thing
thoughts.
that's going to burn. It's in New York, right?
This might be. No, it's in Seattle.
Oh yeah. So they don't even have time zone anymore. Sweet. That's Sweet. Yeah, dude, Seattle's going by 30. Give me a break.
Yeah. The Patriots and the Chargers is the next game. I want to know your thoughts on this one, Vern.
I'm gonna roll with New England. Okay. They got me excited over last week, even though I was not excited until that last drive. They got me excited off of that victory there. Hopefully, see another nice performance out of James White. Like I said, I always love seeing that.
One of the rare occasions, the odds on this are even. It says
and it belongs
right on it.
Exactly.
And I'm picking the Patriots, by the way, just because the Chargers do not have a defense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's we barely have a defense at this point. It's decent, but it's better than the Chargers, So like their offense is gonna be putting up points though. So this is another equalizer. I'm glad, like you said, that's an even. Yeah. That's a coin flip game. I'm rolling with New England just because.
I'm gonna pick the Patriots in this one as well.
Gotcha.
I just see them getting the edge.
Yeah.
Right.
The next one is the Chiefs and the Broncos, which. I'm just happy the Broncos didn't have that QB situation this week because the Chiefs could have put up like 70 points on it. It could have been like 70-0.
They're going to anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I got the Chiefs all day. Hammer out.
Yeah. They're going to anyway. The Chiefs are getting hot.
And yeah.
You got to realize it's 25-2 right now. 25 touchdowns, 2 picks right now for it's ridiculous.
30. I think he's at 30-2.
Yeah, 30-2. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, 30-2, 3,400 yards.
You know the thing about the Drew Lock? Let me tell you this about Drew Lock is Drew Lock's one of those guys that probably needs to do what we were talking about earlier. They probably need to let him fly a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and the thing is, Vic Fangio is not a head coach. He's a defensive coordinator playing head coach. He went to Holiday Inn Express last night. I mean, it's just, it is just. Why is he there? And it's like, I want him back.
Why is he there?
Why is he there? And it's like, I like him on the Bears, but I like Fangio, and I like our defensive coordinator also. You know what I mean? I like him there too, just because I like the coverages. But Fangio, I'd take back in a hurry. But why is he in Denver? Why is he a coach? He's not he's not a coach.
Yeah.
And I hope it gets flexed because that, as of right now, is the primetime game.
The only flexing it's going to be from Mahomes doing this.
Pretty much every time he gets on the field because he's going to be scoring.
Yeah.
But that's such a bad primetime game to have. You know they're gonna blow them out.
Yeah.
The Monday games. There's two of them. Washington and the Steelers.
Oh
Which
God.
I got the
dear God.
Steelers in this
Yeah.
one. You know they're gonna.
What's the score line? What's the line?
The Steelers are 9.5.
That's too much. They play down their competition, but
They do. It's
they
in
play down-
Pittsburgh too.
well, but they play down their competition. And Washington's improving, but it's still going to be the Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I'm rolling Pittsburgh on this one as well.
Pittsburgh.
11-0 or 12-0. We'll see
Right,
by
yeah.
that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Bills and the 49ers are the Monday night game.
Yeah,
Which-
I'm rolling with Buffalo on that one.
I'm gonna roll with
that
Buffalo.
has a
but-
potential to be very boring.
Yeah.
Because Josh Allen can do his job, but he has lulls, and Nick Mullins is boring in general.
yeah. So
And it's like that has a potential. That has an absolute potential of 13-10. It really does.
it's based off of what Bills team shows up. Pretty
Yes,
much.
exactly.
Got you. I mean, I got the Bills in that one, unless the 49ers did what they did last week, against the Rams.
Yeah.
Right. The Rams,
Which-
I think the Bills are better than the Rams though, so I think they'll hang on for that one. 9-3.
We got a Tuesday game as well this coming week, and that's the Cowboys and the Ravens.
Think you skipped your boys.
Oh yeah, I did skip my boys.
But it's easy to do that.
I mean, it's an easy one. It's Packers Eagles. I'm picking the Packers. I'm picking the Packers.
yeah.
I'm picking the
Packers
Packers
Are
too.
9.5-point favorites right now.
I'm thinking the Packers without the fudge.
But,
Thanks
good
for reminding me,
Tuesday,
I guess,
yeah.
Vern.
I had to get to that one. Let's get
Yeah,
to Tuesday here.
So I mean, Packers in that
And
one.
then as far as the Ravens and the Cowboys, Ravens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely even
Even
if they
though
didn't have
depleted.
Lamar Jackson, if they had RG3 in there, I would take the Ravens over the Cowboys.
Exactly. Me too,
Like,
man.
Do you guys mind if I bring up something before I go? Because I'm gonna have to
No,
go.
you
But
good.
I wanted to bring
Yeah.
all of this up for the viewers that we have right here.
Absolutely.
What we have right now is a nice little network of people. We have this show on right now, Squad Pod. We have Perched Gridiron. We have Journey of the Jays. Everybody has a young mind, a young fresh idea, and a young fresh attitude. And then I'm gonna bring the pundit, and the pundit's pundit is one person. It's me,
Mhm.
and it's me. And the idea of something like this is like, all I want for the sports world to start doing is to think a little differently. And it's like, I hope that I can help every other show to help think differently and use their head. It's like, not everybody's going to agree with me, but I want them to be able to use their heads a little differently about
Absolutely.
it.
Open up a discussion at least.
Move up the discussion, because I feel like the Stephen A. Smiths of the world scream, holler, yell, and it gets to everybody. And it's like, and all I ever want from people, that's why I have the pundit's pundit. It's the pundit's pundit. It is.
Exactly.
I am a pundit on them, and it's like, I don't want people to give up in a hurry. I don't want it's like, I made fun of Orlovsky earlier, but at least he's pretty solid on his beliefs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He
He's a
sticks to
rarity.
him. He's not a flip-flopper.
Yeah, he's not flip flop. I don't want flip flops. I want, regardless of everything, I want people to have guts to be able to. I want them to think differently of what's going on instead of using everything as emotion. Because someone like me, who's a Bears fan, I feel like my Bears not team, but the fans ruin this team year after year after year by continuing, and they get listened to by constantly asking to change everything around. And all I want to be able to do with something like this is get the sports world thinking differently, thinking deeper. And ESPN does a little bit with Outside the Lines, but there's that part. But think it all the time, so that you know. And
With
so
every
that
aspect.
Every aspect, so that fans aren't ruining their teams by constantly expecting things that are not real. And that's
Or
what
the
I wanna do
media
with it.
even calling for people's head, or the media calling for people's heads
I want
and
that to
influencing
stop.
decisions.
It's not going to always stop, but I want it to stop.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it ruins teams, it ruins people, it ruins confidence, it ruins everything. And I want people to start thinking a little bit in this world.
Sure.
And whether it is in sports, whether it's in politics, economics, I want the world to start thinking better.
Absolutely, man. And that's great. That is an amazing premise for your show. I mean, it's definitely going to have me kind of thinking things differently, going through these games now.
And you guys are
We
awesome.
we really
you being
appreciate
here,
it, man. I mean, this is definitely the longest podcast we've had so far. So I mean,
for real.
it's nice because I mean, it went by so fast just by having conversation.
Exactly. It's always nice to just have someone on who we can just conversate with, like naturally. And I know with this network is going to be great because we all get along so well already. We've been talking and
John's
it's just
been on
great.
one time. We had a really good episode with him.
Glad to be a part of it.
Yeah,
well, I look
really
forward
exciting.
to you guys, and I was talking to these guys the other night, like last night, and I was talking about once we get this COVID thing over with, we all need to have like the next Super Bowl party, and
do like a live stream,
a complete live stream with all of us.
That would be awesome. That would be so awesome.
And another idea that I came up with is why don't we find past games that were just horrendously horrible and do an MST3K of it.
Just like a commentary on the entire thing.
That would be cool. Hey, I do like that idea.
That's a good idea as well.
But just little things like that. It's like let's get sports a little bit. Let's because we're taking it too seriously and it's like people. I mean, it's like these fans are bullying people. They're bullying athletes. And they're trying to get everything. Let's put them in their heads. Let's put it in their heads a little bit that this is not. You can't be bullying them just because they make money.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think if you were in there,
fun.
Yeah, it's supposed to be fun and it's everything. It's like let's start changing the game a little bit.
I definitely agree, man. And we really appreciate you being on here tonight.
I appreciate you.
Before we go, we do have a thing that we do at the end of every podcast.
Sure.
It's you know what it is, Vern. It's the crazy sports stat or fact of the podcast.
Put that every week in.
Yeah, put the horn in. Every week we kind of have like a crazy sports stat or fact that we usually give. I don't know if you have one this week or not, Vern.
No, I don't. I figured you had like that long list. That
I do. I have a couple of them already saved.
Right.
This one, it's not a football one. It's a basketball one. John Stockton would still be the all-time assist leader even if he didn't play the last 6 seasons of his career.
That's like a Wayne Gretzky stat about like if he took away all of his goals, he would still lead in points or something because of assists.
I forget what it was. That was one that we did during a podcast too.
That's crazy. That just shows you the greatness of him. Like anybody was knocking it. Like John Stockton was the man, but that's a great like telltale sign of his success as a point guard. You know, it was just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, they still talk about John Stockton. I mean, I know LeBron's getting up there because I mean he's averaging assists like crazy now at this point.
Yeah,
well, he's got more
later in his career.
Yeah. I'm gonna give you a stat.
Okay.
Oh, go for it, man.
Awesome.
I got it in my head because I watch these things. I'm gonna explain why. But did you know that when the first year that the Philadelphia Eagles won at Soldier Field? After all those years they've been in the league?
Oh, man, this is going to be disappointing. It's going to be real late, isn't it?
1999.
What? Really?
They were like 0-13 or 14 before they won in 99. And then now,
oh my God.
Now they don't stop winning. Now they don't stop winning at Soldier Field.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But I did a little project when COVID started, by the way. It was to watch every Chicago Bears game from 1984 on, every single one. I'm in 2019 now, so it's almost over. But that's 568 games. But see, I did it because
that's crazy.
Why I did it is because I wanted to show the differences of the production values, the type of for TV, the type of game it was, the plays that have been called, the way it was, the fields, the announcing teams, how different everything was, the graphics.
That makes me think, because I might want to actually start doing that. Like maybe go back and watch some like old games that I've never seen. Dude,
start from the beginning. But I'm saying start from the complete beginning. Like start from say Buddy Ryan's era or whatever, 86. It's like start that. Just watch it and it's a completely different game. I'm used to it. You're not, so it's gonna take a little bit. But, but I grew up with it. But it's like you watch that, you see the differences with the graphics, you see the differences with everything, and then you'll watch when you do it, you will see two eras that will be complete changes for you that you understand. Number one would be 1994, and that'll be Fox Sports, and that's when you got the robots for the first time.
Okay.
The second one, 2006, that's HD.
Okay, and that's
So
when it really changes.
You will
there.
see the different. Those are the until then, you're going to be watching every single game, 16 games. To watch every single game, and everything is different. Everything. And when you get to that, and I do that so I can think deeper of where things were changed and different, and why the game.
I was going to say it's going to open change your perspective on things.
When I see people say, "Well, I wanted the 46 defense now," like for the 85 Bears, it's like they would give up 50 points now. Different game.
It just
different
doesn't
system.
work. Offensive
lines would just catch those signals so fast the heads would spin. It's a different game.
Right. That's cool though. That's a good idea. I definitely would, because I watch a lot of NFL films type of stuff. Like even since I was younger, when I would like skip school and stuff, like sit here watching like bored as hell. We just throw on NFL Network. Like I love watching old school football because it's old school to me. Like, but like I just love it. There's something about it. Something about learning.
If you do, you're going to be going back to New England 1988 to 90. And those are like the 2 and 14 years. You're really
I've seen it. I haven't sat there and watched every single game like you were saying, but like trust me, I've done my research on all my boys. Yeah. It's like even going back to that Super Bowl loss to your boys. You know what I mean?
Well, I've watched that game. See, here's what's funny. This year was the first time I watched the game in full. And it was because I watched. I was 7 years old. My mom made me go to bed at halftime.
Yeah.
But see, here's what's funny. If the game was closer, she would have let me stay up. Because it was school night. Because it was school night, I had to go to bed. So
right.
But this is the first time I ever watched it in full. So it was kind of cool.
It's enjoyable, right? That's cool, man.
But guys, it's been awesome, and let's hope we can keep doing this.
Absolutely.
Man. Go check out.
On, man.
Yeah, thank you for being on, man. Check out Pundits Pundit on Twitter and on YouTube. Check out
the Squad Pod because they're awesome.
Exactly. Like and subscribe, and also check out Journey with the Jays Network on Twitter and their live streams they do every Tuesday.
And you follow me on Twitter and Facebook there, pal. He already has. Wyatt already has.
I got you. I will.
Take care of yourself.
Thanks again for being on, man. We really appreciate it.
Have a wonderful night.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.